Hi friends! Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Asa, this is Asa Tarot, and in today's reading, we are going to be looking at your future wedding. I was going to say wedding day, but I know some of y'all go hard and have wedding celebrations that last a lot longer than that. But before we get into this reading today, I am really excited to announce that I have an email list. And if you join this email list, you will get a free spread in your inbox in your confirmation email. This email list is actually really important. It's going to be doing a lot of things. Number one, if heaven forbid something happened to YouTube, you and I will still be connected and know where each other are. And, you know, I don't even want to think that far into the future about what would happen then, but just at the very least, we would stay connected. Number two, there are times where I'm just like walking down the street and I'm overwhelmed with love and gratitude for you guys, and I can't like tell you individually. So the email list is a way for me to be like just dropping in to be like, I love you and I'm really grateful for you, little things like that. Also, there are times where I get some powerful like channeled messages for the collective, but they're not necessarily long or in-depth enough to put into like a reading or something like that. And I also too, I don't know, I guess maybe I have a thing with short form content, but for me, I'm like, I think it would just be cool to be able to send you guys those things when they arise. Also, when it comes to personal readings and everything like that, if they ever open, my email list is going to know about it first and get first priority, and it's quite likely I won't even need to post about it on my channel. It's definitely going to be a first come first serve situation if they ever are open. So if you want a personal reading from me, that opportunity, you're only going to know about it in my email list. And on top of that, we've got something big coming soon, and the email list is going to allow you to, number one, be in the know about it first and foremost. Number two, get access to some exclusive perks that only the email list will receive. And on top of that, you might also access some savings should this big thing coming be something you're interested in. So a lot of important things with this email list. It's basically going to be my go-to thing from here on out in terms of communication and letting y'all know what's up. So definitely subscribe to that if you would like to. I'm definitely going to be dropping in small things every now and then, like spreads and things as well. So I just think it's fun. I think it'll be fun, and I think it'll be great. And yeah, definitely had some good responses so far in terms of those that have tried the spread. So yeah, but with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this reading. So this is your future wedding. If you are curious in general about your future spouse, I have readings on that. You should go check them out. But maybe stick around for this one first. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by looking at you and your future spouse and seeing what are your guys' feelings and energies going to be on your wedding day. You know, how are you going to be showing up? How are they going to be showing up? And how are you both going to be feeling together? Then we're going to look at what the wedding itself will be like. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm kind of excited to see what's going to come through. And I do ask that if you are outside of the United States, or I guess even if you're in the United States, be patient with me because there are a lot of wedding traditions that I'm less familiar with. So I'm going to do my best to go beyond just, you know, what wedding traditions are around my parts culturally, because I know everybody be doing different stuff with weddings. I'm just going to do my best and see what information comes through. Then we're going to move into the tarot deck that you choose, and we're going to start by looking at how your friends and family will be seeing you and your future spouse as a couple, and also how they'll see the wedding, just what their perceptions will be. And then we're going to ask that same question, but in terms of your future spouse's friends and family, you know, how are they going to see the wedding, you guys as a couple, etc. And then we're going to ask what your future self wants you to know about that day. So I'm really excited to see what's going to come through there. And then we are going to finish off with charms, and we are going to pull significant signs, numbers, messages, letters that could be significant to your wedding day, could to your future spouse, to you, confirmation, whatever may be. So that is what we are doing today, and we have 4 different groups for you to choose from. So starting with group number 1, we are going to be using the Moonchild Tarot, and I have this dream spirit quartz little crystal on top. It's so phallic. I'm trying so hard to be mature, but it's quite a phallic crystal. Yeah. Okay, for group number 2, we are going to be using the Tarot of Oneness, and I have this clear quartz. It's got a little rainbow inside of it, a sphere on top. And then for group number 3, we have the Phantasma Tarot, and I have this Labradorite rose on top. And then finally for group number 4, we are going to be using the Dive Tarot, and I have this tumbled piece of Celestite on top. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. It's okay to be drawn to more than one. Maybe you're getting married more than once, how do I know? And if you're here, maybe you're doing multiple weddings. You know, if you, I don't know. All I do know is that timestamps will be in the description and in the comment section down below. So with that being said, intro squad, it is time to make our wish. There's something on this. It's probably coffee. Mine, if you got a candle using code ASA10 for 10% off, it would not have a coffee stain on it. But we are making a wish on the Lover's Candle today, because what better candle to make a wish on when it comes to weddings? But before I make this wish, intro squad, I want to know, what is a wedding tradition in your culture that you really love or that you want to share? Or what is a trend or a theme you're interested in? I'm really curious. I would love to know about any and all of it. For me, I think it's just wild that Queen Victoria wore a white dress to her wedding, and then that just started a trend for till now, where, you know, a lot of Western weddings, we wear white in them. Like, I just think that's wild and really interesting and kind of cool. I know the producers of Say Yes to the Dress are so grateful for Queen Victoria, because otherwise what would they do? You know, they really depend on that daughter wants black wedding dress storyline and mother refuses. That storyline has them in a chokehold. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and make our wish now. And also, my Indian baddies, I want to know more about your weddings, because your weddings, first of all, oh my God, they look so beautiful, so fun. And I'm just also like obsessed with how, absolutely, I'm going to try not to like drool, but like just stunning Indian brides are. Like the meticulousness of the outfits and the details, it's just all so beautiful to me. So yeah, I would love to hear about that, like the symbolism behind certain things. Like, let me know. Are wedding traditions important to you? I just want to know all that stuff. Yeah, so we're talking weddings today, and let me know what you think, what you have to say, what you have to share. Honestly, I've never really thought about weddings too much. If anything, I'm just like, I really only think about the dress part of it, because like the other stuff doesn't interest me. I'm more interested in I'm more excited about the spouse part than the wedding part. But with that being said, let's go ahead and make our wish. May yours, mine, and all of our wishes come true. Thank you for making a wish with me. Thank you for being here. And once you have picked your group or groups, I will see you in your reading. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this spirit quartz that is totally not, that's totally innocent and does not make me think of anything. And the Moonchild Tarot, this is going to be your reading on your future wedding. So we are going to start by looking at you and your future spouse's energies and feelings on, well, I guess for some of you, the day of your wedding or during your wedding time, depending on how long that is for you. So starting with your feelings and energy, we have the Devil and Beauty. For your future spouse's energies, we have Death and Express. Don't worry, I know that might like seem suspicious, but just bear with me. We also, for the energies between the two of you, we have, I'll explain why I'm laughing in a second, the Trilogy of Light and Indulgence. So the reason why I was laughing was I heard, if you've ever seen The Office, the character Pam Beesly saying, "I feel God in this Chili's tonight." That's not to say that you're going to be getting married at a Chili's, though if you were, that would be kind of iconic, and I would imagine the venue costs wouldn't be that expensive, so there you go. But I feel more than anything that on your wedding day, there is this highly spiritual energy that you're going to be feeling when you and your future spouse truly connect with each other. But as we know with weddings, or maybe you don't know, like a lot of stuff is happening in a wedding, you know? You're not just with your beloved the whole time. Well, maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you do things differently. But, you know, obviously there are friends, family, people around. And it definitely seems like when it comes to the energy between the two of you, both of you may be unaware in the moment, but reflect on it later, that there was a lot of highly spiritual, like positive omens around the two of you during the wedding that you pick up on later, or comment on. Like both of you might have like certain experiences, like your heart's opening at certain points, or just weird things that you notice, and then you talk about it later, and then you go back and you're like, wait, that happened to me too. Oh wait, that's a lot weirder. I thought that was just me. Like almost like supernatural, but in a good way. Experiences where like the supernatural is at your wedding, like, and I don't feel that in like a scary way, like ooh, like, although I would love it if the Grim Reaper showed up to my wedding, because you know what, we've gotten to know each other real well in The Sims, so you know I feel like he's familiar enough. That being said, though, I do think when it comes to you on your wedding day, you're gonna be in two minds about things. Number one, I feel like you're going to be feeling really good about yourself. Your future spouse is definitely going to be very, very attracted to you. And I think you're also going to be very attracted to them. Like part of this Devil energy, I think, is you're going to be very much focused on what happens after the wedding. I think you're going to be wanting to jump to that. Maybe for some of you, if you're saving that for marriage, that could be something that you're focusing on a lot. Maybe nervous about, maybe uncertain about. But if you are playing a huge role in planning your wedding, I mean, you may not know whether you do that or not. You may just be very focused and obsessed with ensuring that everything goes according to plan and is the way you want it. And so you might be having this problem of like, okay, this is my wedding, I'm supposed to be enjoying it. But you notice they ordered the wrong type of gardenias, and you see that. And then, you know, and then everything's 15 minutes behind. Like things like that might really be something that you struggle with on the day, where you're just really wanting to, realistically, like, I'm supposed to be present, I'm supposed to be trying to enjoy this day. But if you identify as a bit of a control freak or somebody that really likes things in particular ways, you might be struggling with just elements of the material world and people's ability to deliver not being what you wanted it to be. However, I feel like these things are going to be quite minor. Other people will not even notice them at all, but you will. And so that'll be something you kind of have to challenge yourself to be like, okay, don't go too hard on this. I also think there might be some heightened fears that you have on your wedding day. Like, you know, what if, and I feel like they're kind of silly, and you would agree that they are silly, but they're just amplified on the wedding day because that's when they would happen. Like, for example, your partner deciding last minute they don't want to get married or something. That just might be something that's percolating. And I think more than anything, what's happening is that you just have a lot of nerves, and those nerves are building in ways where they manifest in just fearful thoughts or noticing the things that are wrong, things like that. But also, I think that there's this excitement around, wow, this is happening for sure. Like, we are doing this. I also think, though, there could be something around, there could be something that happens before this wedding that could be particularly sad or intense, or something that you're unable to kind of put down at the wedding. You know, maybe if one of you loses somebody in their life, or has a falling out with someone, or let's say maybe one or both, like one of your families doesn't approve, or maybe you guys are doing things in a different way where other people don't necessarily agree with it, or you know, maybe there's some uncertainty around getting married at all. Like, you're like, you know, I hope that this is the right decision. I hope that I don't mess this up. Like, I definitely see that being here, and that kind of being a bit intense for you, but also at the same time, you're going to be feeling incredible. And I also think once the ceremony itself is over, whatever you're doing afterwards, you're really going to go hard. Like, you are going to play hard, you're going to dance hard, you're going to eat hard. Like, you're going to be, I feel like after all of that, all of what needed to happen is said and done, you're gonna go hard in the motherfucking paint. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that song. I can't remember who raps that song, but definitely not a traditional wedding song. But yeah, you're gonna be having a great time. And I think what you're gonna be hearing a lot is like just how beautiful or handsome you look. But see, like, I feel like you, for example, you might notice if your hem is off, or if like a stitch needs fixed. So that's like something you're going to be focused on. Now, your partner, they're going to be feeling all the feels. They are going to be telling you how much they love you. They're going to be telling you like how beautiful you look. I feel like they're going to be going around to other people and being like, you know, doesn't my fiance look incredible? Like, I feel like they're going to be all over you. And I also think they're going to be celebrating this change. However, if what I'm saying around like there being some sort of significant, shocking, unwanted event that happens before the wedding, and I wouldn't say that this happens right before, I would say that this happens, you know, maybe a month, 2 months, something like that. It could be that it happens on your partner's side. And so, you know, they're really feeling deep feelings, like this intermixed feeling of like, I'm so happy that I'm getting married, but it's also bittersweet because, you know, maybe this person that I love isn't here physically, or I know that in doing this, I'm altering the relationship with my family because maybe they wanted them to get married in a specific way or didn't approve or something like that. But you're gonna know from them that that's not a problem to them. Like, there might be some sadness or some bittersweetness, or like, I wish, you know, maybe things were different in terms of like, and but these would all be things like circumstances outside of either of yours control. And I feel like, you know, part of what you might be obsessing over is knowing like maybe the sacrifice that your future spouse is making, and, you know, just worrying like, are they confident in their decision? What if they change their mind? What if they regret it? Or, you know, maybe you know that your partner is secretly like dealing with some intense emotions, and you're like, and you're wanting to ensure that they're okay, and that they're still really sure about this, and they're saying abundantly yes they are, but you might be like, yeah, but what if? That might be something as well. But I definitely think in general your future spouse is just going to be embracing and enjoying the realities of this change, where they get to call themselves a husband or wife or, you know, life partner, where they get to where their life is changing in a way where it's not going to be the same again. And I think that for them, there is some intense feeling around that, but a lot of it is very positive. And I think that for them, they're also planning on going very hard. Like, they want to enjoy all the food, all the substances, whatever may be there. They want to dance. They want to enjoy and embrace everything with you. And I feel like they're going to just be really moved. And I don't even think they'll be able to put words to what they will be experiencing during their wedding day. Like, I feel like they're gonna be like, you might feel like your future spouse is almost being over the top on your wedding day, because they're saying so many like loving and wonderful things. And it's not that they don't do that, but it's just like, it's almost like over the top, and it's like, it starts to get suspicious. But I think what they're doing is they're trying to put words to these deep, intense, powerful feelings that they're having for you, for this experience, for your futures. And as they say something, even though it's true, they're like, yeah, but that doesn't hit deep enough. And they gotta go back and they gotta kind of think. And let's be clear, if there was like alcohol or anything at this wedding, their ability to pinpoint the right words to their emotions might get sloppier as time goes on. But I think also that both of you are really going to be thinking about where you go from here. I definitely think as well, like, for example, you know, maybe if the cost of this wedding is something significant, that might be something you're thinking about the entire time. And, you know, your partner might be thinking about, okay, like, I'm not thinking about what happens after this. I'm enjoying it. You, on the other hand, you might have a hard time just enjoying things. But both of you are thinking about the future and what you're about to create together. I think that is a big focus. And both of you as well, I think, are on this like private wavelength where I don't think other people will recognize this, but like, you guys will be kind of seeing in one another, which, like, of course you guys are literally about to be spouses. You'll be sensing what's going on with the other. So like, your future spouse might tell that you're maybe feeling insecure, you're really focused, so they're gonna say like, hey, like, the flowers look amazing, or like, hey, like, you look fantastic. Like, they're going to be saying things that almost eerily pinpoint what you're worried about. And you're going to kind of see like, oh, wow, they're feeling things. They might be feeling different types of ways right now. And I feel like you're not even really going to need to say things. It's just your presence, and maybe like a look or a simple, like, you know, pat on the shoulder or like something like that is enough for your partner to just feel like held and seen and understood. I definitely think, though, that there's a lot of intensity on this day where you want to get things right, you want to do things right, but also you want to enjoy it, you want to make the most of it. And then also intensity of like, okay, like, the next stage of life is here. So let's look at your future wedding and see what details and insights we can get about that. So to start, we have rose quartz with the planet Venus and empathy. We have Venus mallow, delicate fleeting beauty. When life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the hidden beauty within them. We also have Henry VIII. Now, I know those of you that know history, you might be like, ASO girl, what? We're asking about your future wedding, not your future marriage. I would be concerned if this card came up about your future marriage, but I'm not considering it's just the future wedding, so don't worry. But I'm also going to look at these as well. We have boat, money or property through an inheritance, winning or windfall. We have dog, far away, a distant friend is thinking of you. And we have flowers with happiness. And then on the other side, we have yellow. So yellow could be a wedding color theme, or this could just be highlighting the happiness and joy of the occasion. We also have black, so powerful, mysterious, intimidating, influential. So black could be a wedding color. It could also be, though, just reflecting the intensity of the experience. Maybe one of you does have a very intense or like influential family or intimidating family, so that could be something. I do feel like this black card is also kind of speaking to like this hidden undercurrent of intensity that both you and your future spouse will be experiencing, but may not be obvious or overt to, you know, your wedding guests or the people around you. I would also say, though, as well, this could be like the type of wedding where, you know, it's an all-day affair, like it goes from day to night as well. And we have fire. So fiery colors, so like reds, oranges, yellows, those could be, and you know, with black we have smoke, so those could be significant wedding colors in some way. Or maybe you get maybe your wedding happens during a season that the sun is in a fire sign, so Leo season, Aries season, or Sagittarius season. So Aries season is the end of March to mid to late April. Leo season is the end of July to mid to late August, and Sagittarius season is the end of November to mid to late December. So going in much more deeply, one thing about your wedding is that, number one, I think that there's going to be, I feel like it's going to be very much tied to both of your aesthetics. And your aesthetics might be a bit different than what is culturally traditional to weddings, where you and your spouse may be from. But I feel like the biggest thing about your wedding is that people are going to be kind of overwhelmed with how much love there is. Like, I feel like both of you guys, like the people that do support you and that are supportive of the both of you, like you're going to be overwhelmed with how much love they have for you. I feel like the event in general is just going to be very, very, very loving. And what's really interesting as well is that we have two different cards that speak to, well, actually three. All three of these cards speak to roses in some way. And I feel like maybe you exclude roses from your wedding. Maybe you don't like them, or maybe you don't want them there. Maybe you do something a bit differently. I will say, when it comes to this Henry VIII card, ideas that I was getting about your wedding is, first of all, you could get married in England or have like English cultural wedding traditions applied. You could get married in a way that goes against your own cultural traditions, or is like partially your cultural traditions. And the reason why I get that idea is because Henry VIII, you know, he was born Roman Catholic, but during his reign, he basically took the, I'm gonna butcher this, but you know, essentially he split from the Catholic Church. And even though he was technically following like a Catholic doctrine moving forward, it just wasn't connected to like the papal authority, I believe. So like, for example, you guys could, your wedding could be in the same vein as what's culturally traditional, but maybe there isn't a certain authority there. Or maybe, for example, if there are powerful authority figures in either of your lives, maybe they're not there. Maybe they don't show their approval because you're not doing everything by the book the way they want it to. For some of you, this may be your or your future spouse's second or third wedding. So with that in mind, what you guys choose to do might be different because of that. You know, so maybe if this is your second wedding, maybe your first, maybe you didn't have a wedding the first time around, so you're wanting to really do it big, or do it in a way that honors what you never got to experience. Or, you know, maybe you guys have a more low-key wedding because maybe one of you is getting remarried kind of fast after they split, and so it's like, okay, we gotta kind of keep this on the DL, because Henry VIII, he had different kinds of weddings based on who he was marrying and what the circumstances were. So a lot of different ideas of how this wedding could be depending on your unique circumstances and situations. I do think though that even if there are some like hard feelings about how you and your future spouse are choosing to do this from one of your families, they might not show up, but instead like give you a gift of money as a way to say like, I still want to support this, but I can't support it in person for whatever reason. Or wedding gifts could be something that are really significant. Maybe the ocean or like water could be really significant. Maybe some of you, the fact that I did think of Pam Beasley from The Office, I heard her, and she did get married on a boat in Niagara Falls. So a boat could be significant in some way, at least in the show she did. It definitely seems like flowers do seem to be significant in some sort of way. But also, I think one aspect of your wedding is that it is going to be very visually stunning. Like, especially with Venus being here, like, I think aesthetically, like, no matter what kind of wedding it is, it's going to be very polished, put together, look very nicely. And for some of you, you're like, yeah, I know, it's because I'm planning it. And I'm like, cool. So drop your number for when I need to plan mine. So that, like, I've got someone that understands meticulousness. I would appreciate that. But I also think that this wedding could be kind of like a saving grace for you and your person, not in terms of the relationship, but just in terms of what you guys might be dealing with during that time. You know, the fact that it mentions when life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the hidden beauty within them. I feel like this wedding might be an opportunity to really savor and enjoy a beautiful moment in a greater span of a stressful time. So, you know, that might be one thing that both of you are thinking about as well, where it's like, I feel like your future spouse is definitely going to do a much better job of like focusing on that day and trying not to get super overwhelmed. But I feel like for you, you are definitely going to be feeling overwhelmed in one way or another. And I feel like one of the things too is like you're going to look back on pictures of you on your wedding day and first of all just be like, just appreciate how great you looked, but also just appreciate all the things that maybe you weren't able to on the day of because you were overwhelmed. And I do feel like you might want to kick yourself a little bit because you wish you would have appreciated it more. But I think if you recognize realistically, like, okay, I know myself and I know how much I'm able to appreciate something in the moment versus later, maybe the true appreciation for this experience will come in time. But I do think that for you guys, there is going to be this awareness of like, we really do need to enjoy this because we might be dealing with something really stressful afterwards, or, you know, maybe this is just a very lighthearted moment during an intense time for the both of you. I mean, we do see Venice here, so maybe Italy could be significant, or Italian cultural traditions, wedding traditions could be significant, or maybe you have a wedding in Venice or something like that. And like I said, maybe you just have a Catholic wedding if Catholicism is what you practice. Or, you know, maybe you have a Catholic family and you choose to get married in a Chili's and your Catholic family has a really hard time accepting that. But what's better than having mass with $8 margaritas? I don't know. Is Chili even served? I don't know. I live in an Applebee's town, not a Chili's town, so I'm not quite certain on what's happening there. But I also think another thing about this wedding is that some people might come to this wedding to see whether or not you and your future spouse are really into each other or just like curious. And I think that anyone who comes with those intentions is literally going to eat their words, because first of all, they're going to a very beautiful wedding where it's very obvious that not only are the two of you very loved by the people who love and support you, but also the love between the two of you is going to be undeniable. And I think that actually for you specifically, your future spouse is going to be a really great source of grounding for you, where when you are getting overwhelmed, I feel like they're going to help you see the beauty that you might have a hard time seeing, like your own beauty or the beauty of the moment or things like that. And I do think that if one of you has lost a loved one, you're going to be getting lots of signs of them that day. Or, you know, if there's someone that you really love and care about that isn't able to be there and they wanted to be there, I do think that they are going to be there in spirit or have a way to show their support for sure. Yeah, so let's go ahead now and get into your tarot and see what wants to come through there. But while I'm shuffling, if you haven't, you should definitely sign up for my email list. I go into all the details as to why in the intro, but what you get when you first sign up is a free spread from me to you, and I will be doing things like that, like dropping little free things and things like that in the near future, but totally get it if you're not interested. But any updates around readings and things like that, that will be going to the email list only. So other exciting things, little random universal messages, things like that, all of that will be in the email list. So you definitely want to be subscribed to that if you want to be in the know. But if you want to support me in a couple other ways, thank you to everyone who just leaves me a little like. That's super helpful. Subscribing if you haven't is super helpful as well. Thank you to everyone who does that. And be sure to leave this video a little like if you enjoy it. You know, maybe someone else needs to hear about their future wedding. So this is going to be really interesting because now we can start to see what's going on with the circumstances around you. So we're going to start by asking how your friends and family will be seeing you guys as a couple and the wedding itself. So group one, how will group one's friends and family view group one and their future spouse as a couple, and how will they be seeing the wedding? We have the Queen of Wands. So I really feel like, first of all, they're really going to notice how, like, you are just going to look really good on your wedding. Like, I feel like they're going to be taken aback by just how stunning and beautiful you look. And I actually think as well, a lot of people, like, I say this with peace and love, but you're going to kind of steal the show from your future spouse. Like, you are just going to be shining. And, like, even if your future spouse looks fantastic and is amazing, which I'm sure they are because they're marrying you, I feel like your family and friends are just going to be really focused on how amazing you look. I also think they're going to be really focused on how amazing the wedding itself looks. And I think actually one of the biggest things that they're going to notice is just how your future spouse makes you shine more brightly. Like, they can see that you feel more comfortable to be yourself. They can see that they're very supportive of you. I feel like that's one thing that they're gonna really like, is that you seem to be more comfortable being yourself, and your spouse seems to be very supportive of you in ways that maybe, you know, if you had past relationships where you weren't supported very much, and you had people that kind of dulled your shine, I feel like your friends and family are really going to be noticing how much happier you seem to be, and how they seem to bring out, your future spouse really seems to bring out the best in you. But also, you know, I am wondering if this is going to be a summer wedding, because with fire and yellow and now the Queen of Wands, maybe they just see you as like, just coming together with this perfect theme, and you look fantastic. I really think in general, they're going to be really excited to see your vision come to life, because I definitely think a lot of your friends and family will have knowledge prior to like what you're planning, or they might be helping you with it all. And so I think there's going to be a lot of excitement in seeing how your vision comes to life, and being really impressed by it. I also think as well, there's going to be a lot of relief just in that this relationship seems to nurture your own sense of independence and your own strength of spirit, and they're really, really going to like that. So what about your person's friends and family? So group number one's person's future spouses, friends and family, how are they going to see group number one and their future spouse as a couple and the wedding? So we have the Two of Pentacles, and this is what's really interesting. So there's going to be kind of two camps, and I guess I was right in thinking that this was more on your person's end. I feel the people that attend the wedding that are on your future spouse's side, they're going to see the same things that your side, your friends and family see, like the things about you, the things about the wedding itself, the things about just how you guys light up when you're around each other, how you guys seem to just be very much in love. I think it's also going to extend to the fact that, you know, there is so much love around you guys. Like, I feel like, especially for your future spouse's friends and family, they're going to be very aware of what's going on in your future spouse's life. So the ones that are showing up and supporting them, they are going to be really happy that they came to support you, really happy to see that there's a lot of love here, and that they're really like enjoying themselves, and like they're just going to be happy to know that it's a good situation. I think for those that don't come, they're going to have a lot of projections or ideas about this relationship. And I think there are going to be projections around money, like the belief that you guys are marrying for money, or that, you know, like just whatever fears or worries they have. I do feel like the ones that don't come are going to be projecting that, and might even use that as like a reason like why they're not supporting the relationship. But the thing is like those other, like the ones that don't, your future spouse's friends and family that do go are basically gonna kind of scold and shame the ones that have something to say. They're gonna be like, well, you weren't even there, so how do you know what you're talking about? Because I was there, and it was a really beautiful wedding, and they looked so in love, and I had a wonderful time, and I feel like they will definitely defend you guys. Anyone that's on the fence, I think, will immediately be convinced of like your guys' love and how you feel about one another when they see the two of you together. And I think more than anything, those that are coming to the wedding, they're going to feel like you guys balance each other out very well. And they're also going to feel like they're going to feel happy that they came, and kind of sad that certain people in your future spouse's life didn't choose to show up. I think that they're going to kind of recognize like, wow, that is a crappy decision to make on their end. Sucks to be them. Some people might leave being uncertain because they might be like, okay, yeah, well, this is the wedding, but let's see how life is, like how they are in life. And I think that over time they will be like, okay, this is the real deal. That'll just be the extra skeptical ones. But now let's go ahead and see what your future self wants you to know about that day. So group number 1's future self, if there's any advice or guidance or just anything you want group 1 to know now, what would you like them to know? Okay, so the Empress in reverse came out. And I really do think that this is your future self saying, number 1, to be a bit gentler with yourself when it comes to your own expectations of what you think you need to have done or what you think you need to achieve. But also, I can see here that there might be certain insecurities that you will very much still have on the day of your wedding if you don't address them earlier. And I feel like your future self might be saying, hey, we know XYZ is an insecurity of ours that kind of takes us out of the present moment and makes it harder for us to enjoy things. If you look into that and look into tools to either healing that or having a better relationship with it, that might make your wedding day more enjoyable and help you just feel more relaxed and appreciated on that day. But also, I feel like one thing that your future self wants you to know as well is to stop stressing out about the timing of this. It's all going to happen very naturally. And in fact, if there's anything that speeds up or slows this process down, like you may not even know who your future spouse is yet, but getting to this wedding day, this process is started by you feeling good and feeling balanced and feeling abundant and aligned and prosperous and good in your own skin. All of that is going to help you get to where you want to be sooner. It can't, however, you can't block yourself from these blessings, is one thing that I'm hearing as well. And I feel like your future self is saying, don't let impatience get the best of you, because I think that in some circumstances, you might prefer to wait if that means having things the way you want them to be over rushing and having things not up to your standards or the ways or your specifications. I feel like there is this energy here where it's like, I feel like your future self wants you to know you're not running out of time at all, and that everything's happening according to a perfect timeline. And also, when it comes to planning your wedding, your future self wants you to know, don't take no for an answer. If you find a place and they can't make something happen, try somewhere else. And don't be afraid to even try certain avenues that you wouldn't expect, because I feel like if there's a vision that you want to make happen and something you truly want to create, you can make it happen. You just might have to be creative, which is very interesting. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off by pulling some charms, and within these charms, there might be letters, numbers, guidance, signs. Basically, take it how it resonates. Don't let the rest take from you. However, if you are wearing headphones, I would highly, highly, highly suggest turning them down, because this part might be a little bit loud. So, gonna do that now. My eyes are closed, by the way. Group 1. What significant signs, letters, numbers, energies are relevant to group 1 and their wedding? Okay. All right. So once again, we have more pearls. So pearls could be a significant stone, or just the sea or ocean could be significant. The fact that we have seahorses here, seahorses mate for life. And so I really do think, like, if there are people in your life that make like crappy jokes like, oh, is this gonna be your last wedding, or like things like that, or if you're worried, like, you know, is this gonna be a wedding that lasts, like, I definitely think that this is a wedding to somebody who, number 1, really wants to be married to you, and number 2, you the same. I feel like this is a very positive sign that who you're marrying is somebody that is going to be a mate for life. We also have a Canadian coin, so you could get married in Canada. I've been seeing a lot of videos of Banff recently, so maybe Banff is significant, or, you know, maybe your wedding will just take place in Canada, or maybe your future spouse is from Canada, or maybe you will be 25 when you get married, or the number 25 could be significant in some sort of way. We also have the turtle here. So I feel like your wedding is actually not as far away as you think, but it might feel that way based on how you think about it. You definitely don't need to worry, though. Everything is happening in perfect time. We have 2 different music charms. So music could be significant to your future spouse, or to you, or you can get messages in music. Maybe you'll have a live band at your wedding. Like, maybe that's something that's really significant. Maybe you'll have Scranton in the City too, playing your wedding. Another thing here as well is sound in terms of vibration. You might want to look into, like, if there's any healing that could be helpful for you. You might want to look into sound healing or chanting. That might be something useful. I definitely think your wedding night is going to be quite fun, because there's going to be a lot of banging. I think you guys are going to have a good time there. We also have the, yeah, see, you're going to be, if there's a D involved, one of y'all is going to be getting it. Or maybe both of y'all, I don't know. I don't know your lives. I don't know what's going on down there. All I do know is that you can get it. So could your future spouse. So we have the letter D. Letter D could be significant in some way or another. We also have today is a new day, and the new you is lovely. So I definitely think that there is a process of rebirth and transformation that you're undergoing and that your person is undergoing, whether you've met them or not. Maybe phoenixes are significant, or Phoenix, the city, could be significant. Or a place where like phoenixes have a strong connection to the place there, like in mythology or something like that. We also have daisies. So daisies could be significant. The name Daisy could be significant, especially with this D here. Or springtime could be significant, especially because we have Taurus. So Taurus season could be significant, or one or both of you could be a Taurus, and trustworthy. So I definitely think that whoever your future spouse is, they are someone who is very trustworthy. They could even be a little bit stubborn, but definitely somebody who cares very deeply and wants the best for you. I also think though that by the time you are getting married, you're gonna find that even if you're getting married in like 6 months, which congratulations, congratulations. That was a very like congratulations. That was very nice. I didn't mean it that way. Congratulations, that's awesome. You could just find that there's a lot of rapid change you're undergoing as you go through this process, and you might even find that just on your wedding day in general, you wake up feeling like a different person, or feeling better, even if maybe you were very stressed out leading up to it, or at the very least, because we did look at your energy, so it's possible you could still have like that stuff going on, but at the very least it's not letting you stop from recognizing and seeing the beauty around you. But finally, we have education is the ability to meet life's situations. So I do think that maybe your education in some way could assist you in planning this wedding, or maybe you could meet your future spouse through education in some way. We also have the numbers 55, 22, 54, 46, 4, and 32. And finally, we have solid gains are possible today, but with a headache. Okay. Maybe your future spouse says shit like gains, or maybe you'll have a headache on your wedding day, which like could make sense. Maybe you don't get enough sleep. Maybe you got a little too tipsy at the rehearsal dinner. But other numbers we have are 7, 9, 2, 36, 23, and 32. So group 1, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. At least for the first 30 seconds, that is the simplest and easiest way to show support and appreciation for my channel. But if you would like to do that in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Definitely check out my email list. Leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. You can subscribe if you haven't already. You can click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. Part of my notification squad. Definitely leave me a comment. I try to respond to as many comments as possible, unless I am in a bad mental health place, because then I need to regroup before I can navigate comments safely. Any other things, candles, code ISO 10, I believe I already said check out my email list. Definitely want to do that. Social media, other videos, you can check out the future spouse reading, videos with extendeds. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope this reading resonated and brought you some clarity. I love you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back in and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Rainbow Clear Quartz Sphere and the Tarot of Oneness, this is going to be your reading on your future wedding. Full breakdown of the reading in the intro, but we are going to start by looking at your energies on this day, your future spouse's energies on this day, and the connecting energy between the two of you. If you're curious about your future spouse, I have readings on that already that you should check out. But to start with you and your energy, we have the Lovers and Creative. For your future spouse's energies, we have the Magician and Unity. Perfect card to come out when we're using a deck about oneness and rainbows. I love that. And the connecting energies between the two of you, we have the golden path and generosity. I love this energy so much. Like, I wish you could see my, well, I'm glad you can't see my face because I look like a gremlin, but like, I wish you could see that I'm grinning from ear to ear right now, because your future wedding day is going to be a really, really, really awesome, beautiful day. Or if it's longer than a day, the span of it is going to be wonderful. I definitely see for the two of you, both of you are really going to be walking on air, or like walking on cloud nine. Is that a phrase, or is it falling? Well, falling from cloud nine, that's not happening. You're on cloud nine. You're not leaving it. What I see here specifically is both of you have Mercury energies that you're showing up as. For you being the Lovers, Lovers is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and the Magician is ruled by Mercury itself. So it is connected to Gemini and Virgo energies. So I feel like this day, or your wedding itself, is going to go by, it's going to be kind of a whirlwind. Like, there's not really going to be time for either of you to like go off into a corner and meditate and reflect on things. And even if, and you might be like, well, that's concerning, girl, because I'm an introvert. I need my time to decompress. You'll have that time later, and actually what you'll find is that you have plenty of energy, or are able to keep going that day, because there's so much positivity, love, like high vibrations all around you guys. I think for you specifically, you are going to be in a place where you are just wanting to make anything and everything happen, and I think that this is less so around the ceremony and more so around how you and your spouse choose to celebrate afterward. Like, I could see you really having different ideas on the dance floor, or thinking last minute, like, oh, we should go get Jello shots, or like, I can really see your gears turning in terms of making things happen last minute. That will be really fun. But also, whatever role you play in planning your wedding, I think you're really going to enjoy seeing the fruits of your labor pay off, if you had any role in planning things. And I also think you're gonna really like how certain things came together. Like, you're gonna be enjoying your creative eye. I also think as well, though, you are going to be, if you struggle in social circumstances, like, if one of the things you even think about in terms of a wedding is like, I don't know if I want to have very many people there. I'm nervous about being around lots of people. Like, let's say, for example, your future spouse has a lot of family and you're nervous about that. You are not going to have that problem on your wedding day. I feel like you are going to be in a position where you are able to talk to people a lot more easily than you typically would if you struggle with that. But if you don't struggle with that, then I would say you are just finding yourself being very social and not really having many issues, like not being able to talk to certain types of people. I mean, you're going to be talking to everyone realistically, but I also think as well, like, you're just going to be taking it all in and enjoying the excitement of the day. And I really feel like it's just going to be one thing after another, and they're all wonderful things. So you're really enjoying yourself. And I also think that you're just feeling just such pure feelings of love, and really just honestly like patting yourself on the back, being like, wow, I've made a really good choice to marry my spouse. Like, I'm really glad I'm here. I'm really glad we got here. I feel like you are not going to be regretting at all any decisions that you've made. And I also think that when there are sparse and spare moments of free time, where you might just have a moment to think for yourself, I think you're going to be thinking about where you and your spouse are going in like a really beautiful, sweet way, where I feel like you're just going to be kind of excited for what's next. And here's the thing as well, is like, I feel like you and your future spouse, like during the wedding and celebrations and stuff, may get separated a little bit, just because like you guys are making your rounds, you're talking to people, you're celebrating, you're having fun. And I think what's really beautiful about it is there's just this like wonderful feeling of like this bubble of love and the entire environment you've cultivated, where you're just feeling very at peace, and you're like, yeah, I guess I would like to see my spouse a little bit, but there's so much going on, you're not even going to have time to think about it. And you're also going to see your spouse in their element. Like, let's talk about your spouse, because their energy is so sweet on this day. First of all, they are very much in your wish is my command mode. So like, if there are any last minute things that need to happen, if someone needs to go pick up the Jello shots, like, your future spouse is going to be anything you want. They are going to be happy to make it happen. They are also going to really be enjoying socializing with everyone. And I think what they are going to love most about it is that this is the first time that you can say officially that your world and their world are one world, where you know, people they've known from your life, where they've thought like, oh, like, you know, group two's cousin would really like my my aunt, or, you know, things like that. They're going to be really excited to introduce people. They're also going to be really excited to meet people from your side of the family and friends of yours that they haven't met yet. And I think that they're going to love as well just seeing both of your sides of family and friends come together, and they're gonna kind of have this satisfaction of like, I did this, like, two amazing groups of people coming together, like, I love this. And I feel like they're just gonna be really enjoying this experience of synergy that's been cultivated between the two of you, where they're really happy to share with their family and friends, like, look at my amazing spouse that I'm about to marry. Look at their amazing friends and family. Look at how much fun they are to be around, like, all of this stuff. I feel like they're really going to be loving that, but also they're going to be loving you. And like, one of the things that they're going to be talking about a lot when they're talking to other people is like, look at how beautiful, handsome group two looks. Like, aren't I, you know, the luckiest person ever to be marrying them? They are really going to be just so pleased and moved. And I feel like they're gonna be so excited and happy to share all of this love and this energy with others. And I feel like both of you are gonna kind of have this understanding on the day of, where, like, in hindsight, I was kind of already saying this, but to elaborate on it, yes, like, both of you ideally would have liked to maybe spend a little bit more time actually together like, on the day itself. But I feel like you guys are both going to be in an energy of wanting to just show your appreciation for, you know, your guests, you know, for all of them coming. Show your appreciation to celebrate with you guys. And I think that there's going to be a very natural, like, it's just natural in your hearts to give. And I feel like you guys are going to be feeling very content and satisfied with, number one, how everything goes itself, and number two, the choice, who you decided to marry. I think you both are going to be very happy about that. And also, I feel like you guys are just going to be feeling very blessed, and so you want to give back. And the fact that we have this golden path here, I feel like you guys are also going to see, while there's already so much to celebrate, another thing that the two of you are going to kind of be celebrating as well is the fact that, like, all the wedding planning is over, all of the stressful elements of it. And it's like, okay, now we can move forward. Now we can think about the future. Now we can get excited about what's next. And I feel like both of you and your future spouse, one thing that I will say is that you guys will have a very similar vision of what you want your futures to be, which I would say is ideal if you're going to be marrying someone. And so I think you guys are going to just be seeing more of what you envision in the future, and just feeling it like, okay, now we can start cultivating this. Now we can start stepping into this direction. And now we have this path of us. And I think that both of you are going to be feeling really excited about that, feeling very blessed, feeling very loved by others and in love with each other. You're both going to be feeling very attracted to one another. And I think that for your future spouse especially, they're gonna be thinking like, I couldn't have asked for a finer spouse, I couldn't have asked for a better wedding. Like, I feel like they're just gonna be so hype with everything, especially if they're less involved with the planning process. They're really gonna love, like, if you are planning more of it, they're gonna really love all of the touches that you added. But I also think as well, in the little moments where they might be reflecting, they're just going to be reflecting on who knew, like, I would be marrying someone so incredible. Like, who knew I would have such, like, an incredible wedding? Like, I feel like you guys are just going to be feeling all of the feels in terms of positive emotions, in terms of the spectrum of feelings. You're going to be feeling a lot of positive, blissful, just in love with each other, in love with life, in love with this day and what it's brought you. So let's go ahead now and get details on the wedding itself and see what information we can get there. So we have Courtney Love. Okay, and don't worry, we're asking about the wedding, not the marriage. So, and then if you're not happy with Courtney Love, well, I'll tell you what, group 1 got Henry VIII. So I think this is a much less scary card to get. But like I said, we're talking about the wedding, not the marriage. Very important distinction. We also have Lilac, First Emotions of Love. We have the Magician twice. Love is the magician that pulls man out of his own hat. So I think that maybe your future spouse is experiencing love on a level that they've never experienced before. Like, just the amount of love in one room could be very shocking to them. We also have Labradorite with South Node and Boundaries. And then we have Kite with Vacation. We have October. And we have Tower, Solid Foundation, Success with Effort. We have Cancer, Caring, Generous, Poetic, Tender. We have Europe and South America. So lots of different possibilities for your wedding, but I'm going to start with Miss Courtney Love. I've been using this kind of card to look at, like, okay, what weddings did these figures have? Like, what were they like? So Courtney Love got married in Hawaii, Waikiki Beach, I believe. And she got married to Kurt Cobain, of course. They got married in late February. So late February could be a significant time, or Hawaii could be a significant place. I mean, or just a tropical location could be significant, because we do have vacation here. So you could get married at a vacation destination, maybe one specifically in the continents of Europe or South America. Or where you get married could actually be a place that's really significant in terms of you and your future spouse's love story. So, like, for example, you could get married at a place where one of your first dates happened, or you could, your wedding could take place on, like, a significant date when you guys, like, met one another, or when you guys started dating. I definitely think as well, like, Courtney Love's wedding, for example, was very non-traditional. I'm pretty sure Kurt Cobain wore pajamas to it. So you guys could have like a 90s like themed, like not 90s themed in like a kitschy, silly way, but in like a 90s, there could be 90s aesthetics in your wedding. Or maybe it's just incredibly non-traditional, but maybe still has some sort of tradition within it. Like, maybe your family always gets married in a specific place, and so you're honoring that, but everything else is going to be very different. Or it's possible as well, you could just choose to make things quite non-traditional, and as a result, there may be certain family members you don't invite, or or your spouse doesn't invite because you guys want to actually enjoy that day. I would definitely say, though, like, on your wedding day, I feel like you will have experiences of deja vu that might kind of freak you out. Like, oh, I've seen this before. Like, I think you are going to see visions of manifestations you may not have even realized you cultivated. on that day, which will be very exciting. I feel like for some of you, you could have actually like a very big wedding, but for a lot of you, I do feel like this will be a more intimate setting, especially with this Cancer energy being here. Like, I feel like there is this very romantic, sentimental element to your wedding where there's just a lot of gentleness and loving vibes, and things are still exciting, but I feel like just everybody's really going to be soaking in all the love vibes. And I think that even if your wedding is non-traditional or a bit out there or different, I definitely think there's still a lot of planning that's going to go into it. Like, you guys are going to have the opportunity to make things what you want, and like the earlier you plan, the more things will go according to plan, is like what I'm seeing. But I also don't see like any plans being delayed or anyone raining on your parade. Like, I think that your wedding itself is going to be almost kind of like a checkpoint, like a moment of reflection checkpoint, where it's like you're coming full circle with your future spouse in a way where it's like your first time coming full circle in this way, where it's like, okay, like now we've come full circle, like we met, we had whatever we had, and now we're married. Oh my gosh. I definitely think though your wedding will be really fun. And like I said, for a lot of you, you could have like a destination wedding, or a wedding where maybe the wedding itself is more low key so that you guys can have like a bomb ass honeymoon instead. Or, you know, if you can afford both. Love that for you. And the link to my Cashapp is down below if you want to tip me, if you enjoy this reading. Let's see, anything else though. I feel like in general, I think in terms of like colors, I feel like you might have a more rainbowy wedding. Like, there could be lots of different colors. Maybe you have a fall wedding for those of you, or maybe October is significant. But I think in general, the wedding is definitely going to be suited to both of your unique tastes. And it might be a bit non-traditional, but it is still full of love. And anyone that can't see that, I can see, may have to hate from outside the club because they're not going to be able to get in. Which to that I say, sucks to suck. Maybe you should just not be a party pooper and let people live their lives. But while I am shuffling, guys, I have an email list, and you should definitely be a part of it if you, number one, want a free spread as a thank you gift. Number two, want fun little messages from me from time to time. Number three, want to be informed on things like readings, should they ever open. And number four, receive big savings on things that may or may not be coming in the near future that you may want to get some savings on. But other than that, shout out to everyone who just leaves me a little like and a subscribble, or just lets the ads play, because all of that is super helpful. And I am just very grateful that you guys support me and let me read for you and let me do this for you. So we are going to start by looking at what your friends and family are going to think of the wedding and of you and your future spouse as a couple. So group number two's friends and family, what are they going to think of group two and their future spouse and the wedding? Okay, beautiful. So this wanted to come out. I'm going to pull just another one because it seems like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So this star kind of didn't want to come out. It was like on its side, but it was like right here. It was like trying to come out. I feel like your friends and family are going to be really overjoyed to see you here at this place. Because first of all, I think that there's definitely going to be awareness of on your side of the family and of your friends, of just how you've struggled and hardships you've been through, and maybe even specifically hardships in love. And I feel like they might be reflecting, you know, on just how far you've come and where you've been, but also I feel like they're going to be really just overjoyed because they are going to see that, number one, your future spouse is really good for you, and like they can tell that you feel really good around them, like you guys seem really great as a couple. And then on top of it too, I think that if there are any friends of yours or family members that might be going through their own love struggles, you and your future spouse are actually going to serve as a powerful beacon of hope for them, because they're going to have reference of where you've been and what you've experienced, and they're going to be like, it's not the end for me, and like my person is out there. I feel like it's going to be very obvious to your side of the family that you and your future spouse are like destined to be together. I mean, the fact that we have the star here, like there's going to be something almost mystical and magical um about how the two of you interact with one another, the energy between the two of you. And I think, if anything, the only thing that is going to upset them about this wedding is that it's going to end too soon. Like, I feel like, time flies when you're having fun. And I think everybody at this wedding, including you and your future spouse, are going to be like, wow, I wish we could have slowed time down. Like, that was so wonderful. Like, we had such a great time. I feel like your friends and family as well are going to be, in terms of the ceremony, like not a dry eye in the house. Like I feel like so many people are going to be crying. But I feel like there's just going to be this beautiful outpouring of, like, it makes me want to cry now. Like there's this beautiful outpouring of emotion where people are just so happy to see you be loved the way you deserve, and to see you have this beautiful moment and just be happy and joyful. Like that is not only something that you deserve, but it's something that your family and friends are going to relish seeing, because they know how much you deserve to have that moment and how hard you've worked to get there. So definitely a lot of love and beautiful energy on your side of the family. And so I feel like too, they're really going to embrace your future spouse with open arms, and really want to get to know them. They're really going to love that they get that opportunity, because your future spouse is going to be making their rounds to everyone. Like they are going to be very social and leave a really great impression on your side of the family. And I think that if there's any like sadness, there might be sadness that some people, if there are any disapproving people in your life, like they might be sad that they're not here to see this and enjoy this, and might be sad to kind of recognize how stubborn dogmas are getting in the way of just love being witnessed and experienced. But what about Group 2's future spouses, friends, and family? What are they going to think of Group 2 and their future spouse as a couple, and the wedding itself? We have the Empress. So I feel like, number one, they're going to be very impressed by the wedding itself. I feel like they are going to see it as very beautiful. If you planned it, I think that they're going to be very impressed by your aesthetics and your taste. I also think, though, that they are going to think you guys are a beautiful couple, like just a beautiful couple in general. And I think that they are going to find your wedding to be very, I think they're actually going to be a little bit taken aback at like the generous nature of your wedding. So like, like maybe there will be an open bar, maybe you'll have party favors, or maybe you will set up like accommodations. I feel like they're going to be a little bit just surprised at how above and beyond you and your future spouse go for your guests. And I also think that they're going to recognize too that there's a lot of positive energy between you and your future spouse. And I think that they're going to be talking a lot about, like, I feel like their side of friends and family are going to be talking about things like, oh, I wonder when kids might be a part of the equation, whether that's something that you guys want or not. I think it's something that their family is going to be discussing. And seeing you guys as like, oh, they might be really great parents. I also just think, though, that once again, there's going to be a lot of emotion. I feel like your side, your friends and family, are going to be more outwardly emotional than your person's friends and family. I feel like they're going to be more reserved with their emotional expressions, but I also think that that's partially because that's just like how they might be, or how they feel comfortable being. But I think that there's just so much going on in terms of like, you know, what you're providing for your guests, like where you guys are, you know, if you guys are in a unique location. I think that they're just going to be very much like soaking up those vibes. I think also they're just going to kind of see you guys as a very beautiful couple in terms of like, it's obvious you guys are very loving towards each other, you're very gentle towards each other. And I think that there's also going to be this general impression of, well, if this is the wedding they put together, it's going to be exciting to see what they do in a marriage together. So I think that there's a lot of good energy around it. And I think there's also too just a lot of approval, especially from your person's friends and family, like approval of you and approval of your person like getting married. I feel like they're gonna see like this is a good time for that to happen, and like they're going to see a lot of blessings and positivity in the future. And I also think that they're going to be very generous as well. Like they're going to want to be very generous to you guys, where I think that they're going to want to gift you guys with things. And I also think that they are going to be, if there's anything known around your person's, I mean, you may not know who your future spouse is yet, but they might have certain friends or family members that are really, really hard to please. And you're not going to get a peep out of them because they're going to be pleased. And in fact, they're going to be like, this is probably one of the best weddings I've ever been to. I'm really impressed. Like, the aunties, the only thing the aunties will be mad about is that they have nothing to critique. That's all I can say. But with that being said, I want to see what your future self wants you to know about your wedding and that time. So what does group 2's future self want group 2 to know? I feel like, okay, so I would definitely not be shocked if a lot of you are wondering if this is ever going to happen for you, or just worrying like maybe I won't ever get married, or what if it doesn't, like what if I don't find the right person? Or your future self is basically saying, first of all, calm down, like with peace and love. But second of all, you're already headed exactly where you need to be. And you don't need to overthink your journey to this person, to your wedding day, because you're already guiding yourself there. And actually what's really crazy is look at how this Hermit leads to the golden path. So I feel like there's also a message from your future self saying, stop wasting time with people who aren't interested in being a partner to you, and stop wasting your time giving all of yourself to someone who only takes and gives nothing back in return. If that is something you're experiencing, I feel like your future self is really asking you to look realistically at the reality that even if you were married to them, they wouldn't magically become a different person because you're married to them. The right person for you will be generous towards you without a second thought, you know. They will want to be giving and loving towards you. But also something that they want you to know is that it's okay to be on your own, to focus on yourself. You don't need to constantly be going out and pursuing and trying to find this person if you don't know where they are. I really feel like the path to your wedding day is led by your inner work. So actually one of the most important things you could do for yourself is prioritize that connection with your internal world, because number one, it's going to help you dissipate any tendencies of overthinking that might cause you to miss certain messages or different things, which is okay, because even if you miss it, you'll be told again, you can be redirected. It's not a big deal. But also, you're not going to be alone forever. And in fact, the time that you spend alone now, embrace it for what it is. Opportunities to truly focus on yourself, unless you have like, well, depending on, you know, if you have people under your care, like children or adults or something like that, you know, you might have less of that. But I feel like there is a message here, like you don't have to rush this process. You don't have, like, even though you consciously may want to rush it, that might just lead to more chaos and more frustration if it's not something in your heart you truly want. But also I feel like there's just this beautiful message that you can't mess this process up. Like, you're going to reach this day, whether you like it or not. Ominous positivity. You're going to have a beautiful wedding day, whether you manifest it or not. You're going to have a wonderful spouse, whether you like it or not. Well, you should like it. If you don't, there might be some healing in order there. But I feel like there's also kind of a message here that you are nearing the end of a cycle. I feel like the next few months, whenever you're watching this video, not when I'm posting it, so the next few months, whenever you see this, could be quite significant in terms of setting the stage for this. Take that message how it resonates. But with the Hermit being here, I do feel like there is like the most value you're going to get in terms of your path and your journey is inward. Like, the best guidance that you can get is inward, and you don't need to overthink it. You don't need to mess it up. You're not going to miss this. A wedding can't happen if you're not there. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen in the perfect time, in the perfect way. And I definitely think that part of the reason why you might feel in your heart so deeply about, you know, having a spouse, you know, having a wedding, is because it's part of what your soul's meant to experience in this lifetime. And it's not crazy. In the words of our Lord and Savior, Cinderella, a dream is a wish your heart makes. So, okay. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead now and finish off with some charms and just get some insight maybe into your future spouse, confirmation for you, other aspects for wedding day. Headphone users, you may want to turn your headphones down because this can be kind of loud. I'm going to close my eyes and then we'll see what comes out. So group 2, please, Spirit. What messages do you have for me when it comes to group 2? Signs, confirmation, what do they need to know? Okay. Well, where do I even want to start? Let's just start with this ring. It makes me think of, if you ever did Girl Scouts, there used to be this little song you would sing about making new friends but keeping the old. One is silver but the other is gold. And then you say, a circle is round, it has no end, that's how long I want to be your friend. And I was kind of hearing that part, but the fact that it's pink and also that it's a ring, I really do think that you and your future spouse are going to be friends first and foremost, but also be very gentle and kind and loving and like soft with each other. And I also think there's just going to be a lot of compassion, and like the unconditional love for one another will be unending. And so I really feel like when it comes to that concept of unconditional love, number one, unconditional love is not unconditional if you don't extend it towards yourself. Unconditional love is not the same thing as martyrdom. So if you're setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm, that's not unconditional love. That is self-betrayal. It's actually think about how easy it is for you to give to others when it's just coming from your heart. That's how easy it will be for your future spouse to give to you. It's not something you'll have to beg for or ask for. It's natural and easy, actually. We also have another lantern. So definitely your connection to your own inner light is what's going to bring you to this place, but also maybe camping is significant in some way, or maybe you will meet your future spouse, or you and your future spouse will meet during a time when both of you are swearing off dating, or both of you are kind of on your own, doing your own thing. I know for some of you, you might be curious about like an arranged marriage situation. I guess there is possibility with this that could be the case, but if I'm being honest, I feel like it would be a situation that was arranged, but then ends up working out really, really, really well. Obviously, for a lot of you, that's not going to be relevant. Only those of you where that is a cultural practice still. Kindness changes everything. Actually, I think one thing that you can do is start practicing more kindness towards yourself. I think actually you might find that things start really working out in your favor the more gentle you are with yourself. Like things just flow more easily and you become more like treating yourself that way will help it become more obvious when someone maybe isn't treating you as kindly as they should. But we also have melancholy here. So I do think that maybe you and your person will both have similar experiences, or your future spouse will have similar experiences of, you know, just really struggling to find someone who gets them, who really understands them. But also, I do feel like this could just be a message in general that if you are feeling like hopeless or like you'll never find your person, you know, that's just an illusion and it's not true. You know, we have a lot of fruit, so, you know, maybe your future spouse loves fruit. I do feel like in general they are really sweet. We have a strawberry as well. I feel like your future spouse will also really love calling you honey, or could have like a really special connection to bees, because we do have this bee here. So honey could be a pet name they really like calling you, or bees in general could be really significant. You or your future spouse may like that y'all are juicy. You know, maybe you got some junk in the trunk. They could like the juice. We also have this French horn, so somebody could play the French horn, or maybe classical music or orchestras are significant. Maybe you'll have like live music at your wedding, or have like a little classical band thing going on. But I also see this though as a reminder that if there's information that you need to know and you're not getting any guidance, it's probably because there isn't information you need to know. If there's truly something you need to know, the universe will stop at nothing to get that message to you. So if you feel like, if you're feeling overwhelmed and like feeling like there should be a message for you, or that you should have something figured out, if you don't get anything, it's probably because there's nothing you need to know, and it's probably just you being in your head and kind of worrying about things. The message is deal with your head. We also have the number 8. So August could be significant. Leo or Virgo energy could be significant. Also, you know, 8 is an infinity sign. So I do feel like your future spouse is likely, you and your future spouse, I feel like you guys are going to come together with some level of abundance you cultivated on your own, especially with this wheat being here. I feel like there's definitely going to be, both of you are going to be quite abundant, and I feel like your wedding itself is going to reflect the abundance you've cultivated. I feel like you guys are going to be very generous and really make it a big, beautiful celebration. But also, I think as well, there are a lot of things you're working on that maybe you're not ready to harvest yet, but that doesn't mean they're not growing and not happening. We also have, you're doing great, bitch. Keep it up. Yeah. So the universe is really like, you are well on your way to getting where you want to be. Just because it's not here right now doesn't mean it's not coming and that it won't happen for you. We also have fly to you. So this might start as a long distance situation. Maybe you and your future spouse are at a distance from one another, or maybe you meet one another when you're on vacation or something like that. I guess that would tie in everything, you know, if you guys first fell in love in a place and then that's where you go back to get married. That can make a lot of sense. But maybe just paper airplanes are significant. We also just have a guardian angel pin, and also Italy. So Italy could be significant. Italian ancestry could be significant. But I do think that there is a guardian angel not only watching over you. I mean, we do have Archangel Raphael. So I do feel like Archangel Raphael is really helping you with heart healing and heart opening. But also Archangel Raphael could be watching over the connection itself. But I do think there is a specific angel and like a specific guide that is just protecting and watching over the both of you to ensure that you guys remain on the same timeline. Also significant letters, since no letters really came out here. The letter B, I think, is quite significant. Letter H, because H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. The letter G, and the letter M. are coming through. But group 2, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, at least for the first 30 seconds while you do something else. I'm not a monster. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to show support and appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my email list. You can give this video a like. You can check out my candles, merch, social media, all that jazz. You can you can dance, you can jive, having the time of your life, dancing queen. You can leave me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag. Someone left me an incredibly generous tip today, and I was not able to respond to them for whatever reason. Like, there was like a little message there, and so it wouldn't let me like send an emoji, and I don't know if that's like a Cash App update or if it's like if it's just because there was a little thing there. But I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe you should tip me so that I can see and figure it out. I don't know. I wouldn't be upset about that. But also my PayPal, you can tip me there as well. Thank you to everyone who does that. You can check out other videos. You can check out a future spouse video. You can check out ones with extendeds and get those. That's all also super helpful. But that is all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope that these messages resonated. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the Labradorite Rose and the Phantasma Tarot, this is going to be your reading on your future wedding. So we are going to start by looking at your energies and feelings, your person's energy, or your future spouse's energies and feelings, and the energies and feelings between the two of you on your wedding day. If you're curious about your future spouse, you should check out one of my readings on that, because I have readings on that. So full breakdown of the reading in the intro, but with that being said, starting with your energies, we have the Emperor. And my Dutch friends, please forgive me for my pronunciation, but gezellig. In terms of your future spouse's energy and feelings, we have the Wheel of Fortune and love to see it. And then as for the connecting energies between the two of you, we have balance and protection. Wow, okay. So some of you might resonate with this being flip-flopped. You might feel like you see your energy more in your future spouse, but I would argue if you feel like your energy will be more on this side, it'll be a mirroring thing, because I do see how this energy would apply to you. For those of you that are men, I do feel like on your wedding day, you will in general be feeling a lot of pressure to uphold societal expectations of masculinity and what a man should look like on your wedding day. And I think one of the things that you might be really dealing with is the desire or the feeling like you need to really hold back emotionally or keep yourself together emotionally. However, you don't have to be a man for that element to resonate. I do feel like all of you are going to be in a position where you're really not wanting to be very emotionally expressive in front of a bunch of other people. Maybe you just feel uncomfortable with that, which like I totally get, because I have a policy in my family: no sappy cards, because I don't want to cry in front of everyone. Give me something funny and stupid that won't make me sob into a puddle. So I could definitely see that on your wedding day, you may be working hard to like have a centered space where you are not, you might be feeling like you're spending a lot of the day trying to stay in control of your emotions, because I do think that you are going to be feeling a lot of strong emotions, but at the same time, you're also going to be feeling this beautiful sensation. Okay, my Dutch friends, as far as I understand, there's no direct translation of gezellig into English. So if my Dutch friends would like to elaborate on it more deeply, feel free to. But as far as I understand it, it is kind of this, it's a word for a lot of different experiences that encompass feelings of coziness, warmth, connection, things like that. It's like, you know, sitting around a fire with your closest friends, or having a cup of tea with your mom as you talk about things that you love, or you know, things that make you feel cozy, things that make you feel just warm moments in life where you feel connected to others. They're like meaningful, cozy, warm moments. So I feel like you're definitely going to be feeling that. But also, depending on your role in the wedding, like obviously beyond like getting married, obviously that's there, but depending on how much you plan things and how much personal initiative you're taking, it's possible as well that a lot of your focus could also be on ensuring that things go well, just like ensuring that things are in control. But at the same time, because there was another group where I saw that appearing, but the difference between you and that group is that you have the ability to accept imperfection when you see it, and also you're on top of things in a way where you're prepared. And you kind of are split in two minds, where it's like part of you is thinking about, okay, what still needs to be done, what still needs to be happened, what already happened, and the other part of you is like, oh, I'm here, I'm at my wedding, I'm doing this thing. You might also feel like you need to take the lead in certain ways. One reason why that might be the case is because it's possible, like your wedding could be very like ritual focused, and so you might be really focused on ensuring that you get all of the rituals that you need to down. You know, if you have like things to say in a different language that maybe, you know, you're less familiar with, like you've got that prepared. I definitely feel like you're in a position where you're wanting to maintain a level of stability and a feeling of being in control in what could be a very chaotic or just stressful time. And then on top of it, I feel like you are being a bit protective of your own emotions because you may be less comfortable with expressing yourself emotionally. However, I do feel like there may be times where a little bit of emotion comes through, like maybe you shed a tear or something like that. I don't know how you are able to stay centered in your own wedding, because like I watched two actors get fake married on TV, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so sweet. I'm like crying everywhere. But not you. And I also think that if there's any outside pressure on your wedding day for whatever reason, you're also in this energy because you're standing firm against any adversity that may want to rob you of having the wedding you want to have because someone else is being selfish or something like that. You know how that stuff is. But your partner's energy is so sweet. Your future spouse, they're just happy to be here. Like they are very, very aware of the fact that this is a special day. They are feeling so in love. There is no doubt in their mind how they feel about you. They feel like you guys are fated to be together. I feel like they're going to be seeing signs all day of just like how fated your wedding is. I feel like they're going to be something about your future spouse is that they might have a very distinct laugh. Maybe that's one of the things that you will love about them, or maybe that's one of the things that will just be distinct. Like they could just have a distinct laugh. But I definitely think that your future spouse is going to be soaking up everything in that day. Like they'll definitely be expressing emotion, no problem. But I also think that they're going to be a bit larger than life on your wedding day, in the sense that, you know, they're excited to see everyone. You know, for obvious reasons, they're half of the center of attention. So I feel like they are, you know, rising to the occasion and being a little social butterfly. But also I feel like they are just they are in this position where they're feeling just very blessed, and honestly maybe even a little bit overwhelmed at the beauty of the event, the reality of like, oh wow, this is finally here. I can't believe this is here. I've dreamed about this day. I've wanted this day, and now it's here. And also too, I think that they're gonna be in a reflective place where you might notice them. Well, you may not notice them because you may be focused on when's the caterer getting here, and are all our tables set up and things like that. Which honestly, if you plan your own wedding, kudos to you. I don't think I could do that. I feel like that would be a form of self-torture. But like, good for you. I feel like your future spouse, if there's any cultural traditions that are very important to you, I do feel like your wedding will center around those, and that might be part of why you're taking the lead, because maybe, for example, your future spouse could be from a different culture, or be less aware of how things go in your cultural tradition, so they could just be kind of following your lead and following what you tell them to do. They're like, just tell me what my role is. I mean, beyond the getting married part, and I got it, I'll do it. I also think though that they're also going to be a bit of like an Energizer bunny, where they're helping tune into you when you need it. And I think when they like really need a moment, because I feel like for your future spouse, they're gonna have moments where they really do just want to take a second, because like they're just gonna be moved and overcome with emotion. And the beautiful thing is like, while there's all these people around celebrating the both of you and celebrating your union, I do feel like them getting overwhelmed with emotion has more just to do with how much like they love you, and they're like, I need to take a step back. Like, I actually need to process how much I love this person, because I'm overwhelmed with it in this very moment. But I definitely feel like they are just feeling so wonderful and so in love, and we'll definitely say that day was one of the best days of their life, and that they savored every moment of it. And in terms of the connecting energy between the two of you, I do feel like your wedding is going to be very, very healing. And some of it just has to do like with coming together and making that sort of commitment with each other. But I think that there are actually healing elements to your wedding that go beyond the wedding itself, and are more just things, opportunities to show up, to make decisions, and to behave in ways that maybe you haven't in the past. Like, the wedding is going to bring up opportunities for you guys to make decisions in ways that honor yourselves more. And also, if one of you has a hard time saying no, or if one of you typically gets really overwhelmed, it's like the both of you are getting to see how you operate as a unit when it comes to hosting others, when it comes to being in a different environment, when it comes to being put on the spot, or being pressured in certain ways, maybe by like in-laws or something like that. The other's gonna have the opportunity to stick up. You're gonna be able to stick up for one another, or be a support system for one another, or help the other navigate like certain situations that might be uncomfortable or difficult. It's like, oh, I think one of the healing elements of it is the element of you actually having a partner, and like the perks of partnership, I think, are really setting in. So with this protection element, I feel like you guys are gonna be really protective of one another. Like, if you see your crazy uncle, talking your future spouse's ear off, and you're like, oh gosh, okay. Like, you're gonna go and be like, hey, it was great seeing you, Uncle Dale, but I apologize to any Uncle Dales out there. I'm sure you are sane. If you are here, you are sane. You might kind of save them from that situation. But I also just think that there's a good balance of like beautiful, joyful, fun experiences and also just deeply moving, intense feelings. I feel like the both of you are going to have kind of predefined roles during that day. And so you'll kind of have an idea of what certain expectations are. But I think what's really sweet is I think you guys are going to find opportunities to kind of sneak away from everyone else and maybe like have a small romantic moment together or just something like that. Like I feel like you guys are both going to be feeling really good and just really happy about your decision to marry each other. And I think while the day itself might have some specific challenges in terms of like logistics or maybe a couple of difficult family members, there's a lot of beauty and just a lot of awareness of how blessed you both are and how wonderful it is you guys get to share your lives with each other. So let's go ahead and look at the wedding itself and see what information we can get there. And I love that Miss Ma'am is making an appearance. So we have Queen Victoria. You guys got 2 of these flower cards. So we have Pansy with Sweet Thoughts and Daffodil with Rebirth and New Beginnings. And we also have Initiation with the fire element. And other details, we have May, so the month of May could be significant. We have Club, okay. If someone will try to make you do something against your will, try and fail clearly because you guys got each other's backs. And we have Owl, good advice from a wise person. We also have Taurus, humble, practical, focused, patient. We have Leo, fierce, unapologetic, opinionated, strong. And we have Asia. So a couple of things, like this wedding could take place, Taurus season is actually May, so it's the end of April to mid to late May. Leo season, we just finished Leo season. That's the end of July to mid to late August. So those seasons could be significant, or your wedding could be a good balance of structure, tradition, and simplicity mixed with touches that are quite out there or fierce or glamorous or over the top. Like there might be this mix between like glam and simplicity, which I think could be really interesting. If one of the wedding itself could take place in the continent of Asia, or one or both of you could have Asian ancestry or Asian cultural traditions could be in a significant part of the wedding, or the wedding could be based on those. I do feel with Queen Victoria here that your wedding is going to be traditional to the culture that you are in. And I do feel like it's more so your culture rather than your future spouse's, though it could be both of you, especially if you and your future spouse do share the same cultural backgrounds. I think it's a given that you're going to follow those cultural traditions, but I think for you, you may already know, it might be confirmation for you that like there are certain expectations for when you're getting married, and you may not be following all of them, but there are ones that are important to you that you may want to follow. But also I do feel like you could set trends for your wedding that other people end up copying. And I do feel like of all 3 groups, the likelihood of having like a really big wedding, I see being here. Or even if you don't have a really big wedding, at the very least, the requirements and rituals for your wedding are pretty structured or intense, unless there are specific ones that you are against, which I could see that being like an example that I can think of is in the, you know, typical Western marriage vows, there is the word in the wife's vows to the husband to obey, and a lot of women just take that out because, you know, it's not 1732 and we can own land now. But you know, there might be someone that's like, well, you should obey your husband because the Bible says that, blah, 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 you know? And so then you might have to deal with someone being like, well, you should just say it. Like, it's just part of the vows. It's just traditional. But if it's like something that you're really against, I feel like you're definitely going to go against it. I do feel like there's going to be an aspect of your wedding where everybody there gets to, leave well wishes. Like, I think you might have something like, for example, my brother and sister-in-law's wedding, they had like a, I think it was a charcuterie board that they had all of their guests sign. And like the last time I saw them, I was like, well, I don't think I signed that. And I did sign it. Just was not sober at that wedding, so I didn't remember it. Weddings are fun. But this might actually be the kind of wedding where it's less fun than you would like it to be, maybe because you have certain family members that have like really strict expectations, or you just feel like maybe you can't relax. But your future spouse is definitely not going to have a problem with that. And I also would say as well, like, if there are things that you choose to do in your future wedding that go against tradition, I feel like you might only get pressure from like maybe some of your closest family members that might have something to say about it, or nobody will say anything to your face. You might hear something in hindsight, but like, honestly, who cares? Like, that's not even important. I also do feel though that, like I said, the ritualistic elements of your wedding, like of all three wedding groups that I've looked at, yours seems to have the most ritual, like ritual is highlighted the most of the three. And so I do think that the spiritual rituals that you do on your wedding day could actually be very powerful on a soul level. Like, you just might feel it very deeply spiritually. Your future spouse definitely will. And actually, part of the reason why could be because your future spouse is reading up on the rituals and what they really mean. And for you, you're like, yeah, this is just what we do. I can't, like, you'd be like, I learned way back when why we do this, but I can't remember. Something to do with this. And then meanwhile, your future spouse is going to talk to you after the wedding, and they're going to be like, I thought this part was just so powerful. Like, I really felt this. And you're going to be like, oh, I didn't even realize, like, that was the purpose of that part. I forgot about that. So I think that's really interesting. And I also think that you're going to be feeling this big, like, threshold energy. Both of you are, where your wedding is definitely going to symbolize, like, leaving one life to enter a new. And I think both you and your future spouse are going to be feeling like your wedding is, you guys are turning the page to a beautiful new chapter. I also feel like you guys are going to have, with this owl card here, there's going to be some good support from certain family members that are just really supportive of you guys. I would also say as well, I do think that your wedding is likely going to be very trendy. And I know I already said it's likely you're going to have a big wedding. Even if it isn't big in terms of like the guest list, I do feel like a lot of people will know about it. Like, especially if your family knows a lot of people, like a lot of people might hear about it. A lot of people might see pictures of it. Like, there is kind of like a Pinteresty element to your wedding where it seems like there's a lot of beautiful aesthetics. And I would actually be willing to bet that there could be someone very influential that helps you plan your wedding. Like, and what I mean by influential, maybe they're influential in a public sphere, but I meant more so like influential in your life. Like, you know, maybe someone like an aunt, for example, who has experience, but can also, you know, if you want something and then other family members are saying like, no, you can't do that for your wedding, that aunt is going to be like, you don't need to listen to them. And also probably talk to them and be like, this is their wedding. You know, if you have a problem with it, like, you had your wedding, you did it this way. Remember when our grandma didn't want you to do this and you did it anyway? Yeah, so you better do the same thing for your kid. Like, you know, things like that. I also think you guys are gonna get just a lot of like blessings and well wishes from people. Especially couples that have been married for a long time. Like, I feel like you guys are going to get some like interesting and good advice. And I also think that you guys are going to be feeling even more confident in your relationship after your wedding because of how positive and supportive people are, and also because of I feel like there are going to be positive omens that either your future spouse is going to pick up on or both of you are going to pick up on, that are just really like, that are maybe just within your own culture or just are personally significant to you both as like signs of like just positive omens that are occurring on this day. I feel like the only rain on this parade would be somebody making a fuss about something that's really none of their business, and you and your future spouse, you know, having to stand your ground and set some boundaries. But ultimately, I would say like your wedding is definitely going to be more traditional, and a mix of sleek, simple, and glam. Like I feel like, and maybe glam isn't the right word, but at the very least, like I mean, elegance. I do think it could be elegant, but more so well, I guess a good word would be expensive. It might be expensive, but you can get cheap shit for a lot of money. So expensive doesn't necessarily, classy, yes, but I just, what is the right word? I feel like it is an E word. Extravagant is the word I'm looking for. A mix of simplicity and extravagance. So like, for example, maybe you go all out with like the flower arrangements, and so other decorations are very minimal, or maybe your outfits you go all out for, and so you save money on a venue, like, you know, things like that. It's almost like you sacrifice in certain areas to prioritize what is most important to you. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot now that you chose. And while I am shuffling, you should definitely sign up for my email list if you haven't already. All of the reasons why are in the intro, but if you want to get a free spread to try, everybody who signs up for my email list gets a free spread in their inbox, so you definitely should check that out. Additionally, shout out to everyone. If you're enjoying this video, thanks for leaving me a like. I hope that you're enjoying it. Thanks for letting the ads play in the background, at least for the first 30 seconds. That's also a super helpful way to help me, so thank you to everyone who does that. But if not, thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on this and this wide expanse of internet. Thank you for choosing to join my little corner of it. So we're going to start by asking how your friends and family will be seeing your wedding, and you and your future spouse as a couple. So for group number 3, please, Spirit, how will group 3's friends and family be seeing group 3's wedding and group 3's relationship with their future spouse, please? Oh, we have the 10 of Cups. They're going to be really happy with it. And first of all, they're going to think the wedding is beautiful. Like, I'm hearing the word idyllic. I feel like even those that might have an issue, like, oh, well, you're not doing this part of the ceremony, or, well, your dress is cream, not stark white. Like, you know, dumb shit like that. I need to rein it in. I've been too sweary in this one. That's not even gonna matter. I feel like they are going to see how happy you and your future spouse make one another, and like that's going to be totally evident in the wedding. I also think that they're just going to feel like the wedding was like magical, like out of a fairy tale. I feel like no wonder this wedding is going to get some attention, like, because I feel like people will hear about your wedding, like people will see it on Instagram, like word of mouth. People will talk about like, oh yeah, their wedding was amazing. Like, I definitely think you could see flower combinations or similar angles, or the venue you booked being booked by other people. I definitely think you could see elements of your wedding be copied by people that you know. Just saying. But more than anything, I feel like your friends and family are going to be overwhelmingly in approval of you and your future spouse, like in approval of your marriage, of your wedding. And I also feel like they're really going to enjoy themselves on the day of the wedding. I feel like they are going to be feeling all the love vibes. They're going to see the love between the two of you. And I also think that they are going to be just really happy with how everything unfolds. And adding on to that element of good omens, like I feel like even friends and family could be seeing just signs of good omens and feeling like just soaking up all the good energy that's there. And I also just feel like they couldn't have, like, think of your grumpiest family member. They're either not there or they end up having a really good time. Like, no complaints. I feel like all the complaints are before the wedding, and that is when you get to lay down the law. Okay, what about group 3's future spouses, friends, and family? How will they see the wedding and group 3's relationship with their future spouse, please? The 8 of Swords. Okay, can we clarify that? Okay, this actually makes sense. So I feel like for some of you, in having this wedding, your future spouse may be living with you or moving to live with you. Like, the wedding itself might be something that takes their future, like that brings your future spouse to you, but takes them from their friends and family. So I could definitely see there just being like fear. Like, I hope, it seems like they may not be able to see you guys in your own element. And if they are from a different culture, the cultural traditions that you and your family practice, they might be like, oh, well, is group 3's future spouse, like, are they gonna have to do all that, or are they gonna be accepted? Like, they might be unsure, but they also might be afraid as well. Like, they might just be feeling like, oh, this is we're happy for them, but we're sad that we're gonna be saying goodbye to someone we love and care about. But I feel like they're not gonna say that out loud. I feel like a lot of any fears that they may have for your future spouse or things like that, I feel like they're gonna hold back on. I also think that if they are from a different culture, they might have a lot of questions that they don't get answered because they're afraid to ask, from a, like, not wanting to be offensive or not wanting to, like, look stupid. Like, I feel like they might be holding back a lot. And I also feel like your family and friends are going to outnumber their family and friends, and their family and friends might feel a little bit shy or nervous about, like, talking to your family and friends. Maybe there's a language barrier there, so it's already kind of challenging. Although I would argue that when there is a language barrier there, it actually, I feel like it makes conversation, well, understanding each other might be more challenging, but I feel like it's a bonding experience because you have to find new ways to, like, communicate. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's actually a lot of beauty in that. But I do think that there could be somebody in your future spouse's life that might be like sad that that it's for sure now that they're never gonna have a chance with them, which might be kind of tea, but I feel like they'll live with that. And it's possible that maybe a lot of group 3's, your future spouse's friends and family, maybe they're not able to make the wedding because maybe they are at a distance, maybe they aren't able to come, or maybe maybe the intense family member is on their end, and maybe that intense family member is upset that the wedding is happening in your cultural tradition rather than theirs, or that and so if that family member is particularly a tyrant, they might bully other people into staying home or not showing up to support you. I do feel like, though, there's just a lot of uncertainty on your sides, on your future spouse's friends and family side, and I think a lot of it has to do with just not being able to see you guys in your natural element as much, and being in a position where it doesn't seem like your future spouse includes their friends and family in a lot of certain things, maybe they are more judgmental, or maybe maybe they just feel less comfortable with them. And so there could be this element of like knowing that things are different now. Like maybe your future spouse, maybe they usually gave a lot to their friends and family, like just in the sense of maybe that's why they don't really like hanging out with them, is because when they're around them, they're just expected to give and do what they ask of them. It's not really like a mutual connection. I do feel like there's going to be awareness that their friends and family won't be able to get away with persuading or manipulating your future spouse maybe the way that they have in the past. I do think, though, as well, it's possible if this is a destination wedding, or if group 3's friends and family have to come from out of town, it's possible, or internationally, like it's possible some of them may not be able to make it due to visa issues, and that could just be really heartbreaking and upsetting. Like they could literally be all tied up. But I think in general, they're going to notice that your future spouse is different with you, and they're not going to be, and some of their friends and family are going to think that's a bad thing, because it is a bad thing, because it means that they're less susceptible to the whims and desires of those people. But other friends and family in your future spouse's life are actually going to be really happy and be like, okay, they seem to be stronger and more sure of themselves when they're around group 3, which is cool. So let's go ahead and see what your future self wants you to know about your wedding. So group number 3's future self, what would you like present group 3 to know about your wedding, please? Don't carry it all. You probably are going to, as one with Emperor energy typically does, and I figured this message would come out in at least one of them. Don't overburden yourself, especially if you're in the process of planning this wedding already, which if so, congratulations. They just really want you to know you don't need to carry all of this, and you don't need to have it figured out, and also you don't need to stress as much as you may be feeling like you are. It's interesting that we have so many 10s here, because we even have another 10 here as well. So maybe the 10th is a day that maybe you get married on the 10th of some day, but 10s are completions of cycles. And so I do think that your wedding is very symbolic in terms of completing a cycle of singledom for the both of you, and stepping into this new era as, you know, as partners, and of course still as individuals, but as partners as well. And I think that you might, one danger that you run into when it comes to your wedding is getting inundated with details and putting too much responsibility on just yourself. And that could just lead to you getting burnt out, being overwhelmed, and forgetting what's truly important, which is the two of you getting married and enjoying that experience. I also think that there might be, like, you know, because we've had this theme of, you know, there might be certain things that you don't want to do that are culturally significant or that are technically tradition. You might really try and like figure out what to do there. And I think a lot of times, I feel like your future self is saying the answer to what you should do in those circumstances is really simple when you take out the feelings of those you know you're going to upset when you make these changes. And the feelings of those you're going to upset are not your future spouse. So they really shouldn't be as important as you're making them. Like, there are certain decisions that would be no-brainers for you that you might be holding back on because you're like, oh, my grandpa really won't like that. Okay, let him not like it. I think he can handle that. You know what I mean? I also think your future self is just saying you don't need to burden yourself so intensely. Because I think one thing you're going to recognize on your wedding day is that you could have been less on top of things, and things still will run smoothly. Things will still go well. And you don't need to overburden yourself with expectations. I feel like there's also kind of this message about giving, like, if you do enjoy planning these things and you do want to plan your wedding and be super involved, do the things that you enjoy. Maybe outsource what you don't enjoy to someone else, or be less particular about those things so that you don't have to spend as much time on them. You know, maybe put extra energy and effort to the elements that you do enjoy. But ultimately, I feel like your future self is wanting you to know that there are certain weights you don't have to carry if you recognize them as not yours or your responsibility to hold on to or carry in the first place. And recognizing those now will make it easier on your wedding day to prioritize the feelings and emotions and viewpoints that matter and release the ones that don't. So we're going to go ahead now and get some charms. And so we're just going to be looking for signs, symbols, guidance related to your future spouse, to you, to the wedding itself, confirmation, whatever it may be. Headphone users, I would encourage you to turn your headphones down because this can be really loud. So I'm going to close my eyes now. And group 3, what can you tell us about group 3's wedding, please? Oh gosh, okay, we have a lot and something fell. This purple bell. Yeah, you are definitely going to be getting like a lot of like there's going to be a lot of like spiritual omens, and I do think that this is going to be a spiritually awakening experience, if not for you, definitely for other people around you. I think you might be very, very grounded in the physical during this day because there's a lot you're focused on, and it's like, you know, you're being very regimented. I definitely think your future spouse is going to be seeing it, and I definitely think your family members are going to be seeing and witnessing a lot of spiritual stuff, but it could be bells just might be significant as well. Maybe bells are a significant sign. Maybe the name, like the last name Bell, is significant, or the name Violet is significant. Maybe you'll get married in a place where there's bells, church bells. I want a church girl that go to church and read her Bible. I'm sorry, for those of you that are like, what the hell did Asa just say? I was just quoting a really dumb Vine. If you just Google Vine, I want to go to church, or I want a church girl, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we have this heart with a crown on it. So I feel like this is divine love through and through. Like the person that you're getting married to, you will have the experience of divine love with them. And I mean, we also have love again. Like I feel like how you'll know who your future spouse is. Okay. My parents, who have been married for over 30 years, have always told me that when you know, you know. And it's hard to know. It's hard to be like, well, how do I know if I don't know, if I'm not sure? And the thing is like, if you're not sure, then you don't know yet. So I wouldn't take it as knowing. I would also say it's like, okay, if you've ever had an orgasm, you know what that feels like. Because if you haven't had one, if you're uncertain about it, once you do have one, you will definitely know that you have had one. So when it comes to how do I know if they're the one, you will know. Like you will know, you will feel it deep in your heart, in the pits of your bones. Like your mind could panic and freak out and all this stuff, but your heart is just sure. It just knows. And I definitely think like spiritual love is a big part of your relationship and your wedding. Like I do feel like the spiritual elements of marriage are going to be included in the ceremony and in the ritual. However, with this ring here, there's no stone. So things when it comes to your wedding and when it comes to how you plan your wedding and what you choose, I feel like those things aren't set in stone. And I do think as well, maybe for some of you, if you don't know who your future spouse is yet, it's possible that maybe there is more than one option of who you could marry. I do feel like there are a lot of elements, like if there was anything that I talked about when it comes to your future wedding that you're like, I don't think that's really me. Maybe that's something that you will change, and so it's a sign like that's something that you discard. Or it's possible maybe your tastes aren't set in stone, and maybe by the time you're ready to get married, that's actually what you are into. I don't know. But also when it comes to rings, you could have a very unique, you guys could have very unique wedding bands, or you could have a unique stone, something like that. We also have a black dog, so maybe you or your future spouse has a black dog, or a black dog could just be significant in some sort of way. I also just see this though as loyalty, and I do think your future spouse is going to be very loyal in a way where you'll never question how they feel about you, or who their priority is. Like, you will know that. I also think you and your spouse might bond over being like black sheep of your family. And what I mean by that is just like the misfits or outcasts of the family. You also have the number 5. So once again, May could be significant. Taurus energy could be significant. Or maybe you'll get married on the 5th. Or maybe there is a significant change that will set you up to meet your future spouse, or set you and your future spouse on the course of marriage, or something like that. I do feel like your wedding as well, though, will change a lot of... I feel like your wedding will change a lot in terms of just like your relationship. Like, I feel like you guys will be able to relax a lot more once the wedding's over. And I guess as I say that, I'm pulling out Breathe. So I'm hearing, I think it's a Zara Larsson song that's called Breathe. Your future spouse might take your breath away. But also, another thing about your future spouse, like, you'll probably like their pheromones a lot. You might be really into that. They could do something with like lungs. Maybe they're a lung doctor. I don't know. Are there lung doctors? I don't know. It'd be crazy if there is. I feel like there's someone engaged to a lung doctor right now that's like literally losing their marbles. And the rest of you are like, girl, I don't know anything about lung doctors. And I'm like, girl, I don't know either. Okay. So we have that Breathe card. So breath work could be something that's really helpful for you if you're trying to manage your emotions, or if you're trying to forge a deeper connection with yourself. But also I like the phrase, like, my breath is my anchor and my anchor is my breath. I feel like developing centering practices through breath work could be really helpful in stressful times like a wedding, or having to stand up for yourself when maybe you're uncertain. We also have this monkey. So monkeys could be a significant animal. Maybe your future spouse is born in the year of the dog or the year of the monkey, or maybe your year of the monkey, their year of the dog, vice versa, in terms of Chinese zodiac. But also, this is see no evil. This monkey looks like it's doing see no evil. So it's possible as well, like, one of the aspects of your wedding that might just be helpful is like when something is off, or wasn't how it was supposed to be, but it's too late to fix, or you can tell like an in-law is about to complain about something, you just pretend like you don't see it and you just keep moving on. Like, nope. It's very much, it's giving DW, that sign can't stop me because I never learned to read type energy. We also have Smile. It's the same in all languages. So that could be confirmation that there are different languages. Like, maybe like there could be language differences, and that could make like just integration of the entire wedding party more challenging, because there could be, you know, take more time to understand people or understand each other. But I definitely think your future spouse is definitely going to be all smiles on your wedding day. I feel like you are going to be a mixture between smiles and I need to be serious now. I need to play it cool. I need to be chill. Which is interesting. But finally, we have constant grinding can turn an iron rod into a needle. So I do feel like this is your future self once again coming through to be like, okay, so remember that like things like rest are still important, and you do deserve to take time to relax and breathe out. I do feel like the process to getting up to the wedding could be a lot more chaotic and stressful. And I also think as well, this may just be a sign in general that you may need to be gentler on yourself and give yourself more of a break. But numbers we have are 35, 26, 56, 10, 32, 52. 10 is definitely a significant number. We have so many 10s that have come through. And we also have be an optimist. There does not seem too much use being anything else. I do feel like your future spouse is very optimistic, and they could be a Sagittarius or have Sagittarius placements or just Sagittarius energy, because when I just think of optimistic, I think of the Sagittarius symbol because it's like an upward arrow, but also Sagittarius is connected to the planet of Jupiter. Jupiter is like very big, abundant energy, positive, optimistic. I feel like your future partner or future spouse is going to be that way. And we also have 7, 9, 2, 36, 23, and 32. I've noticed a lot of fortune cookies seem to end with 23 and 32. Second one, like this is a different fortune, but it still ends in 23, 32, which is interesting. But group number 3, that is where I'm going to leave this reading. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background while you do something else, because that is the simplest and easiest way to show support and appreciation for my channel. If some of them are super long, feel free to skip after the first 30 seconds. I should get credit anyway, but if you'd like to support me in other ways, sign up for my email list. That is the best way to support me and stay informed and know what's going on. You can check out, leave this video a like if you enjoyed it. That's super helpful. You can comment down below, let me know how it resonates, and subscribe if you haven't already, to be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch, my social media, you can check out my candles, you can check out other videos, ones and extended. So you could check out a future spouse video if you're really curious, see how it correlates. You could check out other videos in general. You could share me with a friend. You can send me love. I'm sending you love right back. You can leave me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag, and my PayPal is my email. I've had mixed success responding on Cashapp. I don't know if it's because they updated the app and changed things, or if it's like a specific issue. But with my PayPal, I'm not able to respond, unfortunately, but I do see it and it is very meaningful. But yeah, group 3, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I really hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 4. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose this Celestite tumbled stone and the Dive Tarot, this is going to be a reading on your future wedding. Full breakdown of the reading in the intro if you are interested. If you're interested in hearing about your future spouse, I have other readings on that. You can check those out before or after this reading. But we're going to start by looking at your overall energy on your wedding, your future spouse's overall energy, and the energy between the two of you. So for you, we have the Moon in reverse and Brave. For your future spouse, we have Judgment and Evolve. And finally, we have the energies between the two of you being Universal Heart and Endings. So, I can tell that on your wedding day, you are going to be kind of a bundle of nerves. But if I'm being completely honest, and actually I think that this reading is a wonderful opportunity to exemplify this, it's possible that on your wedding day, or well, actually the period leading up to your wedding, you may be struggling with your mental health. And I don't even think it really has anything to do with, well, I mean, honestly, I do know that planning weddings is really stressful, so maybe that is part of the stress, but I feel like you're just struggling. You could be just struggling with your mental health at the time. And that is something that makes your wedding day feel a lot more overwhelming. If you are somebody that hates attention or hates being seen, this could be less mental health and more so just a lot of intense nerve and fear around what's gonna happen. Am I gonna, am I gonna look stupid in front of everyone? Am I gonna say my vows correctly? Stuff like that. But also, too, you might be having nerves leading up to the wedding where you're like, almost questioning, like, am I making the right decision? And I don't think it's because you're questioning your relationship with your future spouse. I think it's because you're just afraid in general of the big move you're making. And so I think no matter what your circumstances are, it kind of seems like on your wedding day, you have the ability to kind of detach yourself from the intensity of what you've been going through and have your game face on, in the sense of like, okay, this is my wedding. I know I'm struggling. I feel like you're going to kind of have this awareness of like, I'm not going to let what's going on in my brain get in the way of this day, or I'm just going to do it. And then at least once it's over, it's over. Because I feel like for some of you, you might be like doing this wedding because it's something your future spouse wants. You might be more like, I would be good with just not having a wedding at all, which is very curious that you even clicked on this. However, I do feel like a lot of the beautiful, positive emotions that come from getting married, I feel like those emotions are centered around being with your partner, less around the wedding itself and the process to making that official. I do feel like you might have a lot of fears or just uncertainties about the wedding itself because you don't want to mess things up or look stupid, so on and so forth. And if you are struggling with your mental health, there might just be this like, I don't want to be seen in front of a bunch of people right now. Like, I don't feel good in my clothes, or, like I just wish I was at a different place, or I thought I would feel differently. And I think that's the thing, is like, we can have really big, exciting things happening in our lives and we can still be struggling with our mental health. So it's an important reminder, if you're watching this video because you just want to think about a time where everything will be better and nothing will be wrong. Even when everything is going right in some ways, we can still be struggling in others. And I think that's an important thing, because like, whatever you may be struggling with internally, it has less to do with you not wanting to go through with the marriage. Maybe you don't want to be a part of the wedding, but it's something that you agree to because it matters to your partner or something like that. But you're also just like, maybe just, wishing that your mental state was in a different place. But with that being said, it's not stopping you, and you're putting on a brave face. And I think more than anything, what's really beautiful about this is that you're not actually hiding from how you're feeling and what's going on. I think if anything, you're going to find that you have a lot of support during this day from people that you care about and trust, that are really just going to be there for you and understanding. And even your future spouse is going to be understanding as well. The thing though, for them though, is that I can see why, like, if they want a wedding and you don't, if that fits, maybe you don't know them yet, so you don't know. But if you know you don't want a wedding, which in that case is very funny that you clicked on this video, I do feel a wedding is really important to them, actually, because there's something about the ceremony and the ritual itself that is very symbolic for cementing this reality on upon themselves, that they are now a spouse, that they now have a new role. And even though there are certain aspects of their role that aren't changing, I do feel that on your wedding day, they are quite literally changing, like on a molecular level. Like their brain chemistry is changing. Like, it's almost like they are just shifting in every way, where they are evolving into a new version of themselves because of this now understanding of, okay, I'm no longer okay, like this is my person, this is our life, we're ready for the next steps. And I think there's mutual acknowledgement on both of your ends, like, and you might even have a discussion about this before the wedding of just like, there might be a grieving process of the lives you're leaving behind in order to come together. It's like bittersweet. It's like, it's beautiful because we're starting this new life together, but it's sad because we're also letting go of the lives we used to live. And maybe for you, there could be just some fear of like, what if this new life doesn't serve me? What if I'm making a mistake? What if I'm doing something wrong? But I think a lot of that is fear. I think you wouldn't have, like, if there was truly, if this truly wasn't a supportive situation, I don't think you would go all the way to the wedding. But I do think, like, you know, your mental health could just be struggling at that time. So the fearful thoughts that are really just illusions could be a bit more intense. But the fact that we have universal heart here, I do feel like there's a lot of powerful spiritual energy where for your future spouse, they're receiving downloads and like, and they're experiencing energetic shifts that alter their mindset in an intense way. Like your spouse is actually really interesting. Like, you might have fears leading up to the wedding that like there are aspects of your future spouse that aren't mature enough. And after the wedding, you're never going to see that behavior again because it just like hadn't clicked to them yet. Like, oh, a married person picks up their socks because they want to have a harmonious married life. Like things like that, like small things where they realize like, oh, that's important. I actually need to do that. They're shifting from a mindset from me to we. And even though they had already been doing that, I don't like, it's really cementing to them. Like it's real now. Not that it wasn't real before, but it's just like, there's a difference between knowing and being, and they're experiencing that shift of knowing to being. And I feel like for you, what you're going to find is that you likely get a much needed reprieve from like being stuck in certain mental states that you don't want to be in, and a reprieve from a lot of fearful energy where it's like maybe you felt it even the night before and leading up to the wedding, but on the wedding day itself, like you just feel this kind of conviction of like, let's do this, I'm ready to get married. You know, you might see yourself in what you're wearing and you might be like, this isn't how I pictured I was going to look, or like this isn't where I wanted to be. Maybe for some of you this is a wedding that's happening last minute, or is happening under, you know, just circumstances you couldn't have anticipated. So it's like, what's really happening though is whatever has been plaguing you up to the wedding doesn't seem to be plaguing you during the ceremony itself, at least if it lingers. It's like a minute feeling, but the energy of courage and bravery and this is my wedding, I'm going to do this, I'm going to enjoy this, or at least do my best to, that's going to be really significant. And I think once you have this wedding, you're really going to understand why, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I was just getting mesmerized by my nails. You're going to understand why the wedding was so important, because it is actually a very important initiation on a spiritual level for your future spouse. And I think for you, it's a good opportunity to just recognize and understand that like sometimes what we may avoid like the plague might be worth it if it benefits who we do life with. I also think as well, it'll be an opportunity for you to witness what the spiritual realms can provide you when you have no idea how you're going to move through something, or when you're afraid. Like I feel like this is going to be a powerful faith building experience for the both of you. And I also think that both of you are going to spend less time focused on the wedding and more time focused on, okay, what's next? What are we creating? How are things changing? Like this is real now. Not that it wasn't real before, but it's real in the sense of like, you're likely filing joint taxes by that point. And like, I don't know, I think you guys are just, I feel like both of you in different ways are like, okay, because I think you're more excited to focus on, okay, what happens after the wedding. And for your future spouse, I feel like they are shifting in ways where they're like, all these ideas and all these things that they want to do and all these plans that they didn't have before are now coming online, because they're shifting in a way where they're like, okay, yeah, this is what's next. This is what I want to do. Ooh, I didn't even think of that. Wow, we could actually do that. Like, I feel like both of you are going to be experiencing being stretched, but I didn't mean it in a literal sense. But of course, my mind is in the gutter, so I can't help but laugh at that. But in terms of like emotionally, you might feel emotionally stretched during this day, and also what you're capable of, how broad your perspective is, where your focus is. All of that is being stretched. And I think more than anything, the wedding itself seems to be something that's less of a focus, which, I mean, realistically, that is a good thing, but I guess in terms of looking at a future wedding, bad in the sense that, like, I feel like your focus on the wedding day is going to be more so, I can't wait to be alone with you. Like, I feel like you guys are going to be excited to be alone with each other. And I think also, this seems to be, of all the couples so far, of all the weddings so far, the most introverted of them. So let's go ahead and get some details about your wedding and see what wants to come through. So we have Jay-Z, which that makes sense. We have Violet, faithfulness and modesty. And we have Mars with momentum. So yellows, purples, and golds could be significant colors. But we also have box. You will receive a gift. Yeah, like both of you are definitely receiving powerful spiritual gifts during this time. Like for you, I think that there's the opportunity to lean into faith, and also the opportunity to recognize that sometimes when we can't generate something within us, the kindness from the spiritual realms will support us. We also have wealth. And we have caterpillar. Things will not always be this way. A change is coming. We have fly, a period of ill health, depression. We have cobweb, protective from negative forces beyond your control. And soft. So I would say that you guys might, like, I guess there is a likelihood that you guys will elope and then have some sort of small ceremony. But your wedding is definitely one where, of all of the groups, you would be the most likely to have like a courthouse wedding or a very intimate wedding or a secret even wedding. The fact that we have the fly and the cobweb here, I do feel like that's extra confirmation that whatever you might be going through during that time, you're going to find that it's less intense on your wedding day. And also, it's not going to stay that way. You're not going to be stuck in those energies forever. It's just kind of one of those passing moods, or one of those passing experiences where sometimes we just, have them. But I also think, like I said, like there is speed attached to your wedding. So it seems like you guys might be doing a ceremony and then have like a celebration in private, or maybe it is very private and you speed the wedding itself, the ceremony, along as quickly as possible. So then it's like, okay, let's go have fun and then let's go home. But with soft being here, I do feel like this will be a more low-key wedding, especially with faithfulness and modesty. Like I feel like you guys are, which is kind of ironic with Jay-Z and Beyonce, because they're quite glamorous. But they did have a private wedding, although it was a private wedding in a penthouse. That was definitely still quite expensive. But I definitely feel like you guys are going to have a more low-key, more relaxed situation. I feel like there's going to be less people involved. And I definitely think that's a great thing, especially given where you might be at the time. But I also think that the vibes of the wedding are going to be very like graceful, gentle, relaxed. You could have pastel colors or just soft music, soft lighting, soft colors, things like that. I feel like this is definitely the most low-key of the weddings that I at least saw. And I definitely think like those who do come to your wedding are going to be very generous with what they have to give you. I do feel like this wedding could be planned last minute or happen really quickly. Maybe that's partially why you might be feeling fears. You know, maybe you're like, am I rushing this? Or, you know, or worried about what other people think of what you're doing. I definitely think as well, you know, maybe there's a little bit of like frustration that you're not able, like maybe in order to do things in time, you're not able to have everything you want. Or I think for a lot of you, if you don't want the wedding, then I think that the wedding happening as quickly as possible, which is kind of what is seen here, is probably something that will be more ideal. But I think in general, this is a wedding that's a lot more about like, it's less about hosting and celebration. And I feel like it's more about really making it clear in front of God, spirit, whatever spiritual or higher power you believe in, making it clear to that higher power and to your loved ones the commitment you intend to make, the vows that you intend to have, and make it about that. I feel like you guys are going to be a lot more focused on like for your future spouse, the importance is in the ritual and the ceremony itself, being able to say vows and do that. And for you, you're like, I just want to be married and I really just want to get this over with as quickly as possible. And it's possible in the future too, you may actually want to go back and have like a ceremony or renew your vows or something when you're in a place where you're feeling better or have an idea of a vision, or if things shift. But ultimately, I do think your wedding, like if it is extravagant, it's extravagant and low key, and like there's a very selective and exclusive guest list. And I would just say as well, like this is a wedding where not everything needs to be perfect. Not everything needs to be in its place. I feel like in your case, you're probably like the least of your concerns is going to be if the flowers look right, and if there are flowers. Like I feel like your concerns are just going to be much more on like, I just want to move through this day, enjoy it as much as I can, and then really enjoy what comes after the wedding. Literally, but then also just the being married part. Definitely very intimate and very spiritual, and the spiritual nature might be overt in some cases. So for some of you, you might have spiritual ritual in the wedding ceremony, and for others, I feel like the spiritual nature of it is going to be more felt and intuitive. For some of you, it's definitely going to be both as well. But ultimately, like I think in this group, your wedding day is definitely not like the most important thing here. It's the marriage itself that you really care about. And I do think that the wedding itself, it's possible that you do things in a way so as to save money, or maybe you're even frustrated that you're having a wedding because you're like, we could just save that money or something like that. Or it's possible too that you're having a wedding, part of the benefit of having a wedding is having like, you know, receiving gifts and things like that. Ultimately though, I do think that your wedding is going to be more low-key. It is going to be more intimate, definitely less people on the guest list. And I do think as well, it's going to be, the most important elements of it are just going to be like making that vow with one another and getting through the day. Well, for you, getting through the day. For your future spouse, it's settling into this newfound reality and then beginning to create from this new place of spouses. So we're going to go ahead now and get into your tarot. And I would even say as well, like you may not even have like a reception or anything like that. If you don't want one, you might just kick everyone out and go do your own thing. or something like that. Yeah, I just feel like there's a part of you that's not psyched about this wedding, and it just primarily has to do with things like, I just don't want to, like, it's just a lot to plan, and it's overwhelming, and I don't want to be in front of everyone, and, like, you know, I'm not feeling great right now, or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's stuff like that, but I feel like you're definitely psyched about officially being married to your person, but I feel like in a lot of ways you've already felt that way, but I think for your person, your future spouse, for them, it's going to be, like, making that vow and undergoing the act of ceremony, I think is just going to be really spiritually significant for them and be really effective in them evolving into their spouse level shifts and stuff, if that makes sense. I do feel like, though, you guys might just be, like, really tired as well, because I feel really tired in this reading, and I just feel this, like I need to take a second and breathe and, like, get away from the chaos, if that makes sense. So it's possible too, you might have to, like, take breaks and, like, go relax, or, like, when you're getting ready, you know, maybe you only allow, like, the people you trust most in the room with you, and it's, like, all quiet so that you can just kind of, like, center and focus. I definitely think that this is a type of, the real party is in the marriage itself. It's not in the wedding. Whatever the wedding is, I think, is more in the vein of what your future spouse wants, whilst honoring, like, your desire. Like, I think if anything, you're like, okay, I'll do a wedding, but it needs to be low key. I don't want tons of people there, especially people I don't know. Like, I don't want to spend a ton of money on it because I don't want it to be a whole thing. And also, I want it to happen soon enough because I don't want it to be hanging over my head, like, things like that. But with that being said, we're gonna get into your tarot. So it's gonna be interesting because I don't know if you guys have friends, and, like, I have to imagine you have at least some friends and family there, or at the very least, I guess we'll see, because maybe this is just a process of elopement. But I do feel like there is some sort of ritual that takes it beyond just, like, going to the courthouse. But maybe for some of you, the ritual itself is just going to the courthouse and making it real. So group number 4, please, Spirit. Group number 4 is friends and family. What will their perspective of group number 4's wedding and group number 4 and their future spouse as a couple, what will their perspectives be of that, of them and of the wedding itself on that day? I feel like they're going to be so happy for you. And I think too, like, I feel like part of why you're doing the wedding as well is that there's people in your life as well that will want to celebrate you and see you get married. I was kind of getting, maybe it's possible for some of you, one of you could be, if biologically it's possible to procreate, it's possible one of you could be with child during this process. If you don't want that to happen, use protection and make sure, you know. However, I do feel like your friends and family in general are gonna see, like, I think okay, first of all, I do feel like there might be people close to you that are completely oblivious to what's going on with you internally. And that might actually, and while that might be something that's typically kind of hard because you feel kind of isolated and lonely, in this case, I think you're actually going to be grateful for it, because the last thing you want to talk about is that stuff, because you are just trying to make the most of this day. I feel like, though, as well, their perspective of your relationship with your future spouse, though, is that you make one another really happy, and they're really happy to see you happy. I feel like your friends and family are just going to be really happy about that day, happy to be a part of it. And I feel like they're going to be happy just to see that you're with someone that makes you happy, that you're with someone that takes you seriously and that is serious about you. And I think also, if there is potential for a genetic collaboration between the two of you. On that, or evidence of it on that day. I do feel like they'll be very happy and excited about that, and just envisioning like what you guys will be like as parents, and just being curious about all of that. I definitely think in general they're just going to be really overjoyed and be a source of positivity. I definitely think you're not going to have to worry about your family like not approving or wishing you did things differently. I don't think your family has extreme expectations, or friends even have extreme expectations of what you should do on your wedding day. And if there are ones that do, I feel like they're, by that time, they're going to realize like, well, that's not how group 4 does things. That's never how group 4 does things. And I love group 4, and, you know, I want them to do what makes them happy over what I like. I feel like, and they may not have those realizations on their own, but I feel like other people will talk to them. So really nothing but approval. Okay. Same question, but for group 4's future spouses, friends, and family, what will their perspective of the wedding be, and of the couple themselves? We have the King of Wands. And can you clarify the Wheel of Fortune? So I definitely feel like, number one, it's possible you could be going, like your future spouse could have more financial resources than you, or have had a reputation in the past of being like a Don Lothario, or a bit of a player, or a bit of like someone who usually stays single. So I feel like their friends and family are first of all going to be like, wow, you know, group 4 is clearly very special, because we've never seen your future spouse so smitten and so serious. I feel like what they're gonna see that your future spouse definitely seems mature and serious in ways that still themselves, of course, but like it's gonna be obvious to them how seriously your future spouse takes you, and that's gonna be something that I think some of their friends and family are really relieved to see, like, because I feel like there are definitely family members of your future spouse before they get married, before they find you, that are like, oh, I just hope they find someone someday. I just hope that they find happiness. Like, I feel like there's definitely a level of loneliness that your future spouse has experienced, that they might have friends that they got into some wild shenanigans with that will not be, that will realize and actually will be significant if they are at the wedding. If not, they'll notice this in shifts in your future spouse's energy after you're married. They're just gonna kind of notice like, wow, they've really grown up. They've really changed, and they seem really confident. Like, I think what's gonna be clear to all of them is that your future spouse is not getting married from a place of obligation. In fact, the only reason they're seeing your future spouse get married is because they wanted that wedding. If it were up to you, you would just get the paperwork done and move on with your life. I also think that they will see that they will feel like, number one, your future spouse is very blessed, and that number two, you're very blessed. Like, you guys are very blessed to have each other. I feel like they might see you guys as a power couple, or just see that you guys have a very blessed future on your hands. But also too, I think that there's just going to be celebration in general of these next steps for you guys. And I feel like they're going to see that that you guys make a really great couple. And I think some of them are going to have very spiritual tendencies, and so they might even feel like your soul connection. They might even feel like just angelic presences like around you guys. Oh, another message that I forgot to add with the wedding itself, the number 4 could be very significant. Jay-Z and Beyonce got married on 4/4, which is also the amazing, our lovely, beautiful, special Kino Tarot's birthday. But Beyonce is September 4th and Jay-Z is December 4th. The only reason I don't have that just in my brain, I Googled it before I started this reading, but So the 4th, so like April or the 4th of a date could be very significant. Yeah, I feel like though that there's just a lot of positive well wishes, and if anything, the only like negative feelings I think are around maybe potential friends of your future spouse that are not ready to grow up, that have a hard time seeing one of their friends grow up in a way that they're not ready to. But that's on them. Okay, so let's see what your future self wants you to know about your wedding. So Group 4's future self, what do you want Group 4 to know? What guidance do you have for Group 4? So I feel like your future spouse is saying that you may not feel it during the day, but you actually will be really happy that you did go through with this wedding. Because number one, you're going to realize that maybe your fears were a lot smaller than they felt in the moment. Number two, I feel like they want you to know that everything is going to go smoothly and you're going to be very happy. Number three, I feel like your future self wants you to know that your future spouse is going to be very accommodating with your desires and make your wedding something that's like, that's a good compromise, and I think you'll be satisfied with it. But also I think you're going to look back and be like, I'm really glad that we did choose to have a wedding. I feel like it might be something that you don't care about now, but you might look back and wish you had those memories. You might not, but ultimately I do feel like if the compromise of the wedding is a lot more of a compromise on your end than their end, do expect that they're going to make it up to you in a pretty big way. But also I think as well, like your future self is saying like a lot of like the fear, a lot of the expectation of just like, oh, let's just get this over with, let's just get through this. I feel like your future self is saying like, actually this experience will be more enjoyable than you think. Like I think you will actually like enjoy like your wedding more than you think you will. Your fears will be a lot smaller than you imagine them to be. And actually, not only will you be happy looking back that you did it, I think you'll also realize as well, like maybe there's a part of you that just didn't realize that certain events can be more enjoyable when they are catered to your needs. So, you know, less people, or you know, no reception so that you can decompress afterwards. Like I definitely think like your future self is letting you know to be very clear and upfront with your future spouse about what any accommodations you may need when it comes to your wedding, because they will adhere to them and they will do whatever they can to ensure you're comfortable and you're happy through this process, because they know already that like you guys are having this wedding because they want it, or at the very least having a ceremony in that way because they want it. So yeah, I don't think you will regret the wedding. I do think though you'll realize you would have regretted it if you didn't have one. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and finish off now with some charms. Headphone users, be warned, you might want to turn your headphones down because this can be kind of loud. But we're just gonna see any signs, charms, synchronicities related to you, the wedding day, your future spouse. So I'm gonna close my eyes and get to it. So group 4, please, your future spouse. What significant signs, symbols, and energies are relevant for their future spouse, please? Wow, okay, we got a lot coming out here. So one thing about you and your future spouse is that, okay, that's way too many. Way too many. That is like a whole ass chunk. So we're going to take the top card and leave the rest. And this one fell out, so I'll take that one too. But that's way too many cards. Okay, so we have the 5 of Wands. I do feel like your future spouse could be very competitive, or it's possible as well, like your future spouse might feel like they have to fight to be noticed by you. It's possible other people could be taking your attention, or it's just possible that both of you are hot commodities and both people have a lot of desire for you, or a lot of people have desire for the both of you. So that could be an insecurity that maybe both of you deal with. But also, I think that one thing about your future spouse is that when it comes to conflict, you will learn very quickly that if you identify as conflict avoidant, I think you'll learn very quickly that conflict isn't scary when you're with someone who's safe. I feel like they'll help you see that conflict can be calm. Conflict can be actually, it can bring you closer. We also have the Queen of Swords. So I feel like, so your future spouse could be an air sign, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. They don't have to. But I do think that if you kind of see yourself as a Queen of Swords, like somebody who has a hard time sharing and expressing your emotions, I do think your future spouse will be good for you in the sense that you might be inspired to share more of that. I also think, though, as well, you could meet your future spouse through a Queen of Swords type person. Or meet them through some sort of chaos. I don't know what that would be. But I definitely think your future spouse will really admire your intellect and admire your values and convictions. And with also having never stop as this barcode, I feel like you and your future spouse, especially with this, is that 5 cents? I think you guys could be very ambitious and high achievers. So maybe part of the reason why you're like, I don't see the point in having a wedding, because it's like it's a waste of money or something like that. I feel like there might be a message here that money is a tool, and the more you get, the less you feel like you have. So it's best to not have that mentality, you know, like obviously as long as you're making smart decisions generally, like it's okay to splurge a little bit, or it's okay to like just breathe and enjoy other aspects of life. Like there's so much more to life than that. We also have the number 5, so 5 could be significant. The month of May could be significant. We have a lot going on here. So we have the letter U, Soldier Boy coming through. V, so U and V could be significant letters. We have this door, so I definitely think that your wedding is very symbolic in terms of closing certain doors and opening new ones. It's definitely threshold energy, and the fact that we have this crown here, I definitely think there's gonna be like crown chakra openings and stuff. When I don't know how to describe that stuff adequately, but like that's going to be happening during your wedding, which is very interesting. I think the people that do attend, there might be powerful shifts that happen as well. We have this dinosaur here, so maybe your future spouse is into dinosaurs, or maybe that's something you guys bond over. You could have some sort of past life connection, because you know dinosaurs do be old. It's possible though as well, like when it comes to your wedding, you may just walk away from tradition in general, or you might find that maybe your future spouse prioritizes tradition and ritual more than you do. So that's something that, you know, you come to discover like is an important aspect of things. We also have the 4 of Swords though. So I do think that like in general, your future spouse will be a great source of like mental healing, or they will just have a way of like helping you calm down and relax in ways that you haven't experienced. Like they're just like, it could almost be that they're like good for your blood pressure or something like that. You might see them or see signs of them in meditation or in your dreams before you meet them. I also think though, like just the vibes between the two of you are very relaxing and very gentle. Like when you guys spend time together, like I feel like there's chaos when both of you are mutually feeling it. But in general, I feel like the vibes between the two of you are very calm, very relaxed, and I definitely think there's opportunity for you to start practicing that on your own. That could be a form of manifestation if you haven't met your future spouse yet. You could literally just try to get in that state of calm and like consciously process like, oh, this is how I feel when I'm at peace and I'm at peace with my partner, for example. You know, obviously you don't want to tie all your mental peace to your partner because that's not healthy, but like at the very least, if you struggle to get there on your own, it's possible that in meeting your partner, you might get better at having a greater sense of peace and relaxation, like understanding what that feeling is like. You might be better at finding tools to do that on your own as well. But I already said the number 4 was significant, so that's kind of confirming 4 again. And also kind of confirming, you know, the 4 of Swords is very quiet. It's healing, it's relaxing. So I do think that while your wedding may not be relaxing, I do think your wedding is going to be low key. I do think it is going to be more quiet, more, you know, chill. We also have I love my cat. So your future spouse could have a cat, or if you have a cat and you're like, you know, what if I meet the right person and they're allergic to cats? Well, either they already take medication to ensure that they can be around them, or your future spouse isn't allergic to cats, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're allergic to cats, they might have a cat. Maybe the name cat is significant. We also have Apple. So like the app, maybe you'll meet them at the Apple store, or maybe Apple products could be significant. I definitely think your future spouse is going to be very tempting, where like, you know, if you're usually very like unimpressed by the types of people, like if you're usually not someone who gets interested in people very quickly, or if at all very often, you might find that your future spouse is different because you're very enamored with them. I definitely feel like you are the apple of your future spouse's eye. And I also think that one aspect about your future spouse is that they like to be a daily part of your life. Like, so, because I was thinking of like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And so I almost feel like your future spouse could be very health conscious, or they could just be someone who is very caring in the sense of like they want to know about your day, like they want to check in every day, they want to be like, they want to be an active part of your life, whether they're able to be right in front of you or not, but they might hold back on that in the beginning because they may not want to overwhelm you. We have Ticket to Anywhere. So I feel like if you're like, how do I meet this person? Where do I go from here? Literally anywhere. You know, in the words of the Cheshire Cat, if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will take you there. And just keep going. Yeah. So I feel like the universe is really saying like, you're getting closer to this person, or you and your person like are going to get here. You and your future spouse are going to get to the place of being married. Maybe it's possible you get to pick the honeymoon location since you're doing a wedding, or maybe it's possible. I think what you'll find is that the wedding goes by faster than you think if you're dreading it at all. And also maybe you get to choose where the wedding happens. Maybe you get to choose a destination or a venue that is really cool. And I love signs like Ticket to Anywhere, because that just goes to show that like you can't mess this up. Like if you haven't met this person yet, you will meet them. Like the universe is playing 5D chess based on your moves, so you don't have to worry about it. You set the stage and the scene. So adapt to circumstances in order to make progress. So I definitely think that like when it comes to the wedding day, adapting to your circumstances will be the most effective way to just be as centered as you can, depending on how you're feeling that day. We have 30, 1, 20, 43, 14, 7. We have be calm when confronting an emergency crisis. So I definitely think you will be calm during that day. And I think that if you get like fears or worried, like what if they get cold feet, or you start to feel like you have cold feet, I think in that state of calm, you'll be like, yeah, it's just silly fears. Like it's not real. And also I think any intense emotion you have leading up to the wedding, you might find that it shifts within the span of a day. But like For example, if you're dealing with like mental health struggles around that time, emotionally speaking, you might not feel a whole lot emotionally. You might be more turned, like, just, you might be less attached to your emotional body. But even then, like, I feel like what you're gonna find is that even when you're struggling, like, either your partner's presence or your connection to spirit or both are going to be things that kind of help you see more clearly. And like when something feels like it's too much, I think what you'll find, like if you're feeling a specific emotion or dealing with a specific worry, going to sleep is actually just going to be one of the most effective things that you can do. Like you're going to find that you wake up feeling different and feeling better. Even if it's still there, it's at least not as intense as it once was. And after your wedding, a lot of your what ifs and a lot of fears that you had are just going to fall away, and they're going to be kind of funny because you're like, I can't believe that was so intense. Like, now that I'm here, I see how silly that was. Other numbers: 11, 43, 40, 19, 8, 4. And finally, we have, if I can open it, this month you'll experience moments of deep insight. So maybe you'll get deep insight into who your future spouse is, or deep insight that leads you to them, or deep insight into aspects of yourself that bring you and your future spouse closer. I don't know. All I do know is that your lucky numbers are 20, 29, 49, 14, 8, and 55. So group number 4, that is where we are leaving this reading, and I am pretty glad about that because the sun is fully in my eyes now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, at least for the first 30 seconds. That is the simplest and easiest way to show support and appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates if you haven't already, and subscribe, and be sure to click that little notification bell, or click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You should also join my email list. All the reasons why you should are in the intro, but also lots of good things. Get a free spread when you sign up. You can check out my candles, my social media, merch, things like that. Code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out other videos. You can send me a tip. My Cashapp is palehag. My PayPal is my email. You can check out other videos, ones with extended. You can check out a future spouse reading. But that is all. You can send me love, share me with a friend. I'm definitely sending you love right back. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this. I love you guys so much, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!